All right, let's run down that list of crashes again. We got 40 westbound near 840. That is in Dixon. Then we've got 65 northbound near Old Hickory Boulevard. The left shoulder blocked there in Madison. 65 southbound near Trinity Lane. 24 eastbound right before Bell Road. And if you've got some friends or family coming into Nashville from Cookeville, let them know that there is a crash in the westbound lane of I-40 right there at Baxter. Highway Patrol on the scene. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hello, it is The Drive. It is not Brian Wilson. My name is Matt Murphy. I'm in for Brian today on this Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving. Happy Wednesday. Happy Hump Day. Hope you're doing well. It's a First Amendment Freestyle Friday on Wednesday. It'll also be Fry J a little bit later on Wednesday. Everything we normally do on Friday, we're doing on Wednesday because we're not here tomorrow. It's Thanksgiving after all, and we will not be here on Friday. And I know that is much to the chagrin of some of you. Probably to the delight of others, one way or the other. I hope you are able to spend time with family and friends on this wonderful holiday week. Thank you for being with us. We're going to talk all about Thanksgiving coming up in the next couple of minutes and for the next 4 hours of what we hope to be Talk Radio Excellence. It's my episode 703 of these sit-downs together on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It's Locks for Trump Day 270. If you've been following that on my normal shift from noon until 3, I've been growing out this mop of hair for 270 days now in anticipation originally of a new president-elect. Now it's anticipation of an inauguration day that's to come January 20th of 2025. Speaking of dates, it is Wednesday. It's November 27th, 2024. You can find us on 99.7 FM. You can find us on any number of streaming platforms. I mean, really, if there's any streaming platform that you like, type in Super Talk 99.7 WTN. And there we are. And if we're not there, tell us and we'll get there. We invite you to download our app. You can take us wherever you go that way by downloading that from your app store. Or for you masochists in the audience, you can watch on television. Super Talk TV is up and running. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch. There's Ken Weaver, who is the second best looking of the three of us. Chris Weber, who is in the mix somewhere. And then there's me. Hello, gang.
Well, let me dissect that for a minute. See where I stand. I'm not sure.
I think anybody that's watched a Super Talk TV knows exactly where you stand, Chris Weber. Well coiffed, well mannered, and always with a smile on his face.
He used to have a long beard.
Well, he used to have well. When I met him, he had long hair. That was his COVID mane.
Long hair and long beard.
How long did the beard get, Weber?
Oh, it got down to.
I mean,
it's way down.
It was ZZ Top worthy.
I mean, nipple length.
Oh,
it was below that.
Holy moly! How long? Ken? By the way, before I get to that, how long has that one taken? I mean, I know you've always had it, but it was shorter when we first met, wasn't it?
Yes.
Okay.
It's I've snipped it here and there, but then I stopped, and it just keeps on going. It's almost down to my navel now.
Oh, well, it's a long one. Now, Weber, you, I mean, did you not cut it at all?
Right. Yeah, it was 2.5 years. I think something like that. Man, just let it grow and grow.
I couldn't even. I mean, my facial hair looks like a rat has gotten in bed with me and gnawed on my face while I'm asleep. It's just awful. I envy you fellows that can just pop it out like yourself.
You got to drink. You got to drink a lot of coffee.
Is that what it is?
That's what it is.
Was that what it is?
That's what I understand.
Speaking of manly men. Anybody watch the Nashville Morning News with Dan Mandis this morning?
I missed it.
Yeah.
Speaking of manly men.
Well, I was speaking of manly men.
What brother Dan?
Was there a guest host or something?
No. It was good. Well, a couple of things. One, we had originally scheduled Robbie Starbuck, just a little inside baseball, and this is all in love and friendship. So we had originally had Robbie Starbuck on today, but for anyone listening to Dan this morning, he was on this morning.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had to call Robbie and say, hey, we kind of, want to spread it out, so why don't you come on with us on Monday or Tuesday of next week? So he's coming on Tuesday of next week. That's one thing that I didn't care for. And there was something else he did during the gang of four amigos, or whatever he calls it, that struck me as very, very funny. I was just trying to ding on the guy. Now I can't even remember it. That's what kind of day it's going to be.
Maybe he'll remind you, because I'm sure he remembers it.
Maybe. What? Oh, man. Let me tell you, if you listen to Nashville's Morning News, Dan Mandis will present 3 hours and 48 minutes of superior talk radio. And all he's worried about is that 3 minutes that he shanks it.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm exactly the opposite. I give you about 10 good minutes in 4 hours, and I just focus right on those 10 minutes.
That's a win, baby.
Oh, yeah, baby.
I shank twice an hour, top and bottom.
With the news, everyone.
Consistency is key.
Just want to make sure all of you dirty minds out there like me, he's talking about doing the news.
What's Weaver doing, shanking?
He's shanking right now. He'll be done in a minute.
Shag, baby, yeah.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Hope the family's gathered around the radio. Hey, guys from out of town, listen to this radio station. It's really good.
These guys are the best.
Didn't they say they was
What's wrong with
conservative?
you?
Thought they was conservative.
Fellow on the radio is talking about shanking.
It's not family friendly.
Well, it's better than shiving, I guess.
Well, shiving and shanking are the same thing, aren't they?
No, I think shiving's...
I know you get shanked in prison.
I guess shanking and shiving is the same thing in prison.
Oh, no. Yeah, it's a shiv that you use to shank.
So in order to shank, you first have to get the shiv.
It's like juking and jiving. You're shiving and shanking.
Yeah, they can be used interchangeably. A shank or a shiv.
Weaver's on a roll. I'm just going to go in there and do the news in the newsroom and let him come in here and do this.
Just unload.
Well, if one guy's shiving and shanking, the other dude better be juking and jiving. Otherwise, he's going to end up in the infirmary, in the old gray lady, the pokey.
The old gray lady.
The Gray Bar Hotel.
Why am I getting, what is it? I don't know. That's the mental image I have.
I don't know.
What is that called? I can't even think of it.
I was thinking
West Side Story or whatever it is.
You
West
reject
Side
all the way
Story.
from your first cigarette to your last dying day. That is what you were thinking of?
I'm not sure now.
I was thinking of Jailhouse Rock.
Oh, well, yeah.
Has anybody ever listened to the lyrics of Jailhouse Rock?
You know what? I don't think I have. I know the song, but I don't think I've ever listened to the lyrics.
I think I have this right. Let me look this up. Hold on. I want lyrics to Jailhouse Rock. I don't want to screw this up. Nobody has explained to me what this means.
Okay.
All right. So I think I got it right. Jailhouse Rock's lyric. Here, Jailhouse Rock lyrics. Okay. It starts off fine. The warden threw a party in the county jail. The prison band was there. They began to wail. The band was jumping and the joint began to swing. You should have heard those knocked out jailbirds sing. And then let's rock. Oh, there you go. There you go. Let's rock. And so far, so good, right? I mean, everybody's in jail, but we're having a good time.
Yeah.
We're not shiving. We're not shanking. We're juking and jiving.
Yeah.
Now, all right, he played the saxophone. Little Joe was blowing on the slide trombone. Little drummer boy from Illinois went crash, boom, bam. The whole rhythm section was a purple gang. Now, I don't know what a purple gang is.
I don't either.
Now, this was written back in the mid-1950s. Now, listen to this.
Ooh.
Oh.
Now, what the hell's up with that?
Okay.
Cutest little jailbird?
Number 47 said to number 3, "You're the cutest jailbird I ever did see. I sure would be delighted with your company. Come and do the Jailhouse Rock with me."
How did that get by me all these years?
So
I have never heard that.
we're either I'm just going to choose to believe that the king of rock and roll, Elvis Presley, was in some sort of co-ed jail.
That's weird.
I've never had it explained to me. I mean, I guess people just like, well, whatever, that's just Elvis.
It's just good times.
Listen,
He ain't really in prison.
ain't important a storm, boys.
Yeah.
Anyway, but if all I can say is if I'm number 3 and number 47 comes up to me, there's going to be some shiving and shanking.
It's kind of like on Gunsmoke. Miss Kitty, she wasn't a madam. She was just a nice lady hanging out at the bar.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
That's right.
Family television.
I mean, she might have known a few. But come on, guys.
She just happened to live in the bar.
They never did kiss, did they?
I don't believe so.
I don't think Marshall Dillon ever kissed Miss Kitty.
You couldn't do that sort of thing back then.
No, not on that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. This is the type of show it's going to be. We're going to get into more serious matters. I will say this. The political left, I mean, I'm going to have fun with this today. They just have learned nothing. They're not going to learn anything from the lessons of November 5th. And it's something that I want to talk about in the first hour. In the second hour, we've got Fry Jay. So Jay St. Clair will answer any and all of your legal questions, either via phone or particularly on Super Text. It's a little bit easier in that regard. We're going to, I'm beginning in the new year, if we don't do it before, I've talked to Jay about getting him on Zoom so that we can show you. A lot of people have requested that we have him on Zoom, so those of you who watch on Super Talk TV are able to watch our interactions. So we're working on that for the near future. But on the phone today, Jay St. Clair and an edition of Fried Jay on Wednesday. So any and all legal matters, and there's a couple of legal matters that I've already asked him about, to include immigration policy and whether or not Tom Homan has the ability to arrest the mayor of Denver. Not to bury the lead here, yes, he actually does have the ability to arrest the mayor of Denver if he's knowingly violating federal law. It's just amusing to me, and we'll get into it a little bit more with Jay, but this is kind of a part of the overall theme of the first part of the show. How the political left, they have decided that you are either dumb or racist. Those are the only two options as to why you voted for Donald Trump. It has nothing to do with political policy. It has nothing to do with the political left overplaying their hand. It has nothing to do with the fact that these people oftentimes seem, how do I put this? Nuts! No. You're just a racist or you're dumb. That's their position. I got Alec Baldwin talking about it in Canada. I've got, who is the other one that I've got talking about it? It's another one. It's a B actress. She was up there doing the same thing. We got Whoopi and the usual crew over there on The View. And every political leftist in the United States of America is singing from the same hymnal. That this was no mandate, that they have nothing to learn from these election results. And then we have Kamala Harris, who has been gracious enough to step out of the shadows. I don't know if she's still in Hawaii. I don't know where she might be. But she's been gracious enough to step out of the shadows for just a moment to thrill us, I should say, with her unique perspective on what went down on December 5th. We're probably going to play this a lot. Ken's probably already heard it. Look, I'm going to preface this by saying there were a lot of ways that I was willing to criticize Kamala Harris. And there were a lot of roads to go down. And I never chose to go down the she's drunk road because I never quite believed it until now. I did not believe, people would have her on stage and she would be cackling and sound like a bird of some sort. And I thought, well, she's just goofy. Surely she's not pounding a few before she goes on stage to deliver poorly a stump speech. This is the first public comment that Kamala Harris has made since she offered her concession speech at Howard University the day after the election. 28 seconds, and I defy you to tell me she's not drunk.
I just have to remind you, don't you ever let anybody take your power from you. You have the same power that you did before November 5th. And you have the same purpose that you did. And you have the same ability to engage and inspire. So don't ever let anybody or any circumstance take your power from you.
So, does that not sound like a drunk at a bar somewhere? Ken Weaver? Ken. Let me say something, buddy.
Hold on, let me power up.
You and Chris Webber. You got the power. Just don't, Chrissy, don't ever let anybody take your power from you, buddy. You got some power. And you hold it right here in your hands as I put my hands up like the boobies, which is what Kamala just did. You got the power. And you know you got the power to buy me another drink, Ken. And I'd like for you to do that now.
Those poolside bars will get you.
I mean, once again, I understand why people did it. I never, I'm like, come on, guys. There's certain places I don't feel like I need to go. And during the presidential election, you can't tell me that she took a couple of pops before she gets on stage in front of, I don't know, 50 people or however many she's gathered into the arena, non-paid. And now I'm not so sure because,
I just have to remind you.
I just have to remind
Don't you ever let anybody take your power from you.
You got a butt that won't quit.
You have the same power that you did before November 5th.
I don't.
And you have the same purpose that you did.
I'm not going to be vice president anymore. And I'm not going to be president of the United States. She's going to be governor of California, though. Watch.
Oh, yeah, man.
Oh, y'all watch. Oh, I believe with every fiber of my being that as stupid as this woman is, she is not stupid enough to run for president of the United States again. She's going to run for governor in 2026 of California, and those morons are going to vote for her. Just wait and watch. Oh, my goodness gracious. Can we sell California to somebody? Honestly, just serious question. Just take the good stuff, get Tesla, Tesla's getting out of there anyway. SpaceX, get them out of there. Get all the good places out of there and then, sell it off piecemeal to the Chinese. whatever. The Chinese got money, right? Anyway, that's the type of show that it's going to be today. We are going to talk a serious matter involving Nashville, Tennessee, and Tren de Aragua, which is a Mexican gang that is in Nashville, Tennessee. And Freddie O'Connell, the mayor of Nashville, admitted as much. I don't know if his liberal friends have told him that he's not supposed to be saying things like that, but I've got the clip for you. We mentioned Kamala Harris drinking and thinking about that power. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about Thanksgiving as well. And a couple of news items coming out of note. This Israel deal bothered me yesterday when it was announced that there was a ceasefire between Israel and Lebanon and Hezbollah. And now I know why it bothered me. I'll share that with you in a moment. It's 23 after the hour on Super Talk.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy in the middle of downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We've talked so much about Savory Spice. I thought, why not show you the place? So let's go on in and see what's popping at Savory Spice. As I've always said, you will smell the spices even before you walk in. I can smell them right here in the doorway. Come on in, and let's introduce you to the one and only Holly, who is the owner and proprietor of Savory Spice. Say hey, Holly.
Hello, everyone.
Now, enough about Holly. Let's talk about spicy and easy products like the incredible taco soup, which, as I said, you put this in a crock pot, you put all the ingredients that it tells you to buy right there, you put the spices in, and it's so easy. So if you don't know what you're doing around the kitchen, it's a perfect way to find your way around the kitchen, as is the Mediterranean dill risotto. Now, for the holidays, pumpkin pie spice. What doesn't it have, Holly?
Pumpkin.
Doesn't have any pumpkin in it. That's a fun fact for all of you kids out there. Now, if you stop by Savory Spice, either in the Franklin location or at L&L Market, you can get yourself a sample of the dill dip, which is my absolute favorite. Just tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice with purchase now. So come by Franklin or L&L Market in Nashville and come see Holly and the entire crew at Savory Spice.
Trump transition, appointees targeted by bomb threats, and a law enforcement alert for AT&T customers coming up at 3:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
You know what it reminds me of, and thank you, Ken Weaver, for that update, and we look forward to it in just a couple of minutes. Kamala Harris. By the way, it's a First Amendment Freestyle Friday. That's what I call Fridays. First Amendment Freestyle Friday on Wednesday. Because today is our last day of the week. We're celebrating some time with family tomorrow and Friday. Our company gives us this Friday holiday off. And I want to say that of the non-official holidays, the Friday after Thanksgiving is really the only one that I know of that all of us kind of take off. You know, normally we stagger things. Obviously, we take Christmas off, New Year's Day off, these types of things. But I don't think I've ever taken a President's Day off. I don't think I've ever taken a MLK. I feel weird about taking MLK Day off because it's just off the holidays. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, you feel like
a couple weeks later.
Yeah, you were just off for a number of days, and I don't know why. Just President's Day, I've never taken that off, but I'm taking Friday off. Ken Weaver's taking Friday.
Oh,
off.
I'm taking Friday off.
All right, so in the 5 o'clock hour, man, here's what I want to do. I want all of us to nominate some turkeys for Turkey of the Year, and I think we can do local state turkeys. And then we can do national turkeys, and you can have one or multiple turkeys. You can go entertainment category, just whatever your heart desires. Just nominate your turkeys of the year for 2024. Political, whatever it might be, entertainment. So we'll do that in the 5 o'clock hour. Maybe take some suggestions from the listening audience. It is Kamala Harris. Reminds me of this guy, and for people of a certain age, you know exactly who he is.
Thank you very much.
So,
As the Puerto Rican gentleman just told you.
Puerto Rican gentleman.
I have never met Don Rickles. In fact, he's probably wondering what I'm doing here. He has never even seen. He has never seen me before.
If you don't know, there's a guy by the name of Foster Brooks.
Yes.
Foster Brooks was a comedian back in the 1960s and 1970s, and I guess into the 80s. And that's him roasting Don Rickles in 1974 with Dean Martin sitting aside at the dais. And he was a well-known comedian, but he developed this act as a drunk. And he was hilarious. My grandma thought Foster Brooks was the funniest human being on planet Earth. And yeah, Kamala Harris is our new Foster Brooks. Only it's not an act. It's real. Maybe some of you have some thoughts on it, 615-737-9986. And I'll get into that Israel story, which is a little more of a serious story involving Israel and their inability to do what they want to do to win their war on terror because of the Joe Biden administration, sadly. It is 3:30 on this Wednesday on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
3:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes, and several members of President-elect Trump's new team have been targeted by threats of violence today. Here's ABC's Selena Wang.
Trump's spokesperson Caroline Leavitt says that several of Trump's cabinet picks and appointees had faced threats last night and this morning, and said those threats range from bomb threats to swatting.
Now, President Biden has been briefed on the bomb threats and swatting incidents made against some of President-elect Trump's nominees. A law enforcement alert obtained by ABC News now warning about a rash of iPhone thefts across the country. The thieves are hitting homes where phones have been delivered and may be disguised as legitimate delivery personnel. Sources telling ABC News the thieves are especially targeting AT&T customers who order new iPhones, then have them delivered to their homes.
Here in New York City, the NYPD has recorded more than 50 thefts of new iPhones ordered from AT&T. Police are working to determine how exactly the thieves know which houses to target and when.
Aaron Katursky reporting. Right now in Nashville, a court challenge to the newly approved sales tax increase to pay for Mayor Freddie O'Connell's transit plan. The Tennessean says the Committee to Stop an Unfair Tax and its leader, former Metro Council Emily Evans, filed the lawsuit today, claiming the projects the plan funds are not allowed under the law, and the ballot language was misleading when it came to total cost. Also in Tennessee, several groups asking a judge to pause a hemp rule from going into effect they say will put them out of business and deny their customers medicine that they need. Rodney Croteau, owner of Green Daisy in Franklin, telling News 2.
Flower and vapes is a significant portion of my business and most of us in this industry. It will, quite frankly, it'll put a lot of people at jeopardy of losing their businesses.
No word on whether that judge will decide before December 26th, which is when the new rule takes effect. That's the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, I'm still seeing a lot of brake tapping northbound and southbound 65 between Nashville and White House. We've got a crash still affecting travelers west of downtown, heading west. That's I-40 westbound near 840 in the Dixon area. And then 65 northbound near Old Hickory Boulevard, adding to the brake tapping there north of town. That is a crash blocking the left shoulder there in Madison. We've got 65 southbound near Trinity Lane, right shoulder blocked by a crash as well. And then 24 eastbound right before Bell Road. Traffic every 10 minutes, every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy in the middle of downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We've talked so much about Savory Spice. I thought, why not show you the place? So let's go on in and see what's popping at Savory Spice. As I've always said, you will smell the spices even before you walk in. I can smell them right here in the doorway. Come on in, and let's introduce you to the one and only Holly, who is the owner and proprietor of Savory Spice. Say hey, Holly.
Hello, everyone.
Now, enough about Holly. Let's talk about spicy and easy products like the incredible taco soup, which, as I said, you put this in a crock pot, you put all the ingredients that it tells you to buy right there, you put the spices in, and it's so easy. So if you don't know what you're doing around the kitchen, it's a perfect way to find your way around the kitchen, as is the Mediterranean dill risotto. Now, for the holidays, pumpkin pie spice. What doesn't it have, Holly?
Pumpkin.
Doesn't have any pumpkin in it. That's a fun fact for all of you kids out there. Now, if you stop by Savory Spice, either in the Franklin location or at L&L Market, you can get yourself a sample of the dill dip, which is my absolute favorite. Just tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice with purchase now. So come by Franklin or L&L Market in Nashville and come see Holly and the entire crew at Savory Spice.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN, a bait, if you will, of liberals speaking back about the results of the November 5th election. We're going to get into it on this day before Thanksgiving Day. We'll also give thanks a little bit later on to the turkeys of the year. That's coming up at the 5 o'clock hour. We give thanks to Jay St. Clair. He'll be on for Fry Jay. My name is Matt Murphy, and for Brian Wilson. Brian off today, back on Tuesday next. I'll be in Monday, as I'm in on these Mondays and Fridays. Normally you hear me from noon until 3 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. So we have some secretly recorded audio. I want to share this before I go to a few of your telephone calls. And by the way, call me at any point. I kind of take all comers at any point during the show. If you want to share your opinion about the matters discussed, 615-737-9986. Jim and Stephen have already done that. You may so as well. 615-737-9986. I have some clandestinely recorded audio. There apparently there were concerns on the campaign trail about Kamala Harris as to whether or not she was drinking. And we have received in my email inbox some audio of one of her campaign advisors interrogating her on the nature of her drinking at a campaign event the night before. Here's how that audio sounded.
Fit to take your place in society again.
It was last night I had a snoot fall. I'm all right this morning.
We'll determine that in just a minute. Now, I'm going to test your reactions and your reflexes.
This jail's getting to be as bad as home.
Now, first, we're going to try a little verbal coordination test. Now, I'm going to say a sentence, and then I want you to see if you can say it. Are you ready? Now, here it is. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickle pop. Peter Pepper picked a peck of pickles. Peter Pickle picked a peck of pickle. Peter picked a peck.
Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled pepper. Is that it?
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, that's the one. Oh, I love Barney Fife. Yeah, I don't know if she's more Foster Brooks or Otis Campbell, but I do know this, that the only person on the Andy Griffith show, this is a fun fact for you, the only regular on the Andy Griffith show that was married was the town drunk, Otis. I don't know what that says about anything.
That's true. Wow, I've never thought about that.
Andy wasn't married?
No.
Barney wasn't married? Thelma Lou wasn't married?
Even the mayor.
What about Floyd? Was Floyd married?
Floyd wasn't married?
No, Floyd wasn't married.
I mean, every once in a while you would see Andy would have to go settle a dispute, but most of the time when he had to do that, the married couple, they were arguing with one another.
Wow, I never thought about that. That's right, though. Yeah.
The only married person on that show was the Aunt B, of course, not married. Yeah. Just a little fun fact. I don't know what that says, but it says something, I think. Jim's in Coopertown. Hey, Jim, what's going on?
Hey, Matt. I have long thought that Kamala Harris, not necessarily a drunk, I think that she's a Xanax head. I think it's the blue bars, and then when you get into the evening and she has her glass of wine or something, and then she really starts slurring.
I mean, I don't know that I disagree with you, Jim. In all seriousness, I didn't buy into this. She's on something or another during the campaign, but I felt like, well, surely they're not allowing that to happen. She's just goofy. But I don't know how you come out with this 30-second video without recognizing that she looks like she's on drugs.
Well, and then she goes after she starts slurring, she goes straight to the Ricky Bobby hands. You ever notice her hands?
Yeah,
she never knows what it's
that's what I called my look at my boobies hands, because she just holds them up like, look at my boobies.
Yeah, it's Ricky Bobby. She's Ricky Bobby.
I don't know what to do with my hands. I mean, America, let me tell you, and thank you, Jim, for the call. I am so happy. I don't care where you are. I don't care if you hate Donald Trump's guts. I'm so happy that America was smarter than to elect Kamala Harris. Because, regardless of what you think about the liberal philosophy on governance, and I think it's way too oppressive. It interferes with our lives on far too many levels. Government doesn't do almost anything as good as the private sector, with the possible exception of, killing people and breaking things. I mean, our military is pretty good at that. But other than that, I just don't agree with the liberal philosophy on government. but anybody but this lady. I mean, she just did not have anything to offer.
I just have to remind you, don't you ever let anybody take your power from you. You have the same power that you did before November 5th.
So you do.
And you have the same purpose that you did. And you have the same
There come the booty
ability to engage and inspire. So don't ever let anybody or any circumstance take your power from you.
Unless you're running for president of the United States and you get your butt handed to you by about 5 million votes, right? I mean, I guess you get your power taken from you in that respect. No, a lot of liberals are coming out and they're suggesting that this was not the fault of Kamala Harris, that this was the fault of the American people because the American people are just too goofy or dumb to understand, and maybe a little bit racist, to understand the consequences of their actions. James Carville said as much earlier today. I think that's what reminded me of Mandis. He was playing some of this bawdy talk by James Carville earlier this morning where he's going off on liberals, going off on young people, telling young people, I don't give a bleepity bleep what you think about anything. Well, maybe that's why y'all lost. Because you don't seem to give a bleepity bleep about what any of Americans say about much of anything. And then there's Alec Baldwin, who I will not hurt the audience ears by playing you any of this audio. I had a couple of snippets of it. But Alec Baldwin claimed that Americans are simply, quote, uninformed about reality. This is a guy that is a 66-year-old movie star that killed another person and got away with it. And he's going to tell me about being untethered to reality? This is a guy that lives in a gated community that has security around him anytime he wants them, that is surrounded by an insulation from the real world. And he's going to tell me that I'm untethered from reality. Okay. Alex says that the majority of the American population, and by the way, he said this in Canada, of course, that's what they do. He said he believes the country's population is uneducated and the vacuum is filled by the media and, wait for it now, the film industry. Because isn't that what we all do? Friends, isn't that what you do? When you're unsure about a political issue, when you're unsure about whom to vote for in a local, state, or national election, don't you turn to Hollywood to find out who to vote for because they have such sense about them? Speaking at a press conference as he accepted a Lifetime Achievement Award at the Torino Film Festival, he said, television news in the United States is a business. They have to make money. There's a hole. There's a vacuum. There's a gap, if you will, in information for Americans. Going on to say Americans are very uninformed about reality and what's going on. Climate change, Ukraine, Israel, you name it. All the biggest topics of the world. Those are the biggest topics of the world for Alec. Climate change, Ukraine, and Israel. Important topics, at least two of the three. Americans have an appetite for a little bit of information, he said. And then he went on to say that vacuum is filled by the film industry. Not just the independent film industry, not just documentary filmmaking, which are very important around the world, but by narrative films, where the filmmakers and the buyers, the studios and the networks and the streamers are willing to go that way. They're willing to try it. In other words, I guess he's wagging. Is Alec Baldwin actually wagging his finger at Hollyweird that they're not lecturing us enough? Enough? The same movie industry that decided that they couldn't have little people in a remake of Snow White. They couldn't have dwarves because that would be somehow, I don't know, that would be untoward toward the dwarves. They eventually, I think, rescinded that decision, and some other woke nonsense came out of Disney as a result. It's just fascinating to me that individuals as insulated and isolated as somebody like an Alec Baldwin or these other folks in Hollywood, California, and in other entertainment industries can't figure out that the average Joe citizen believes that you do not speak for us. You do not represent us. and you do not have any idea what you're talking about when you speak of us. Because you're not here. You're insulated and isolated. You've chosen to do that thanks to your fame and your money. And you know what? I'm not even knocking it. There but for the grace of God go you and me. I have no idea what it's like to be Taylor Swift. I have no idea what it's like to be a country music superstar. I have no idea what it's like to be a movie superstar. And I imagine that it's very lonely. I imagine that it is. But one, you wanted that life and you have received it. Number two, when you are isolated and insulated in that fashion, how dare you tell me that I'm the guy with the problem? How dare you tell me that I'm the guy detached from reality? You haven't been attached to reality since you made it big in your mid-20s, Alec Baldwin. And oh, by the way, average Joe citizen in the United States of America shoots somebody, whether they claim it was an accident or not, and they go to jail, buddy. Jail. The old Gray Bar Hotel, where you can get shivved or shanked, lest you juke or jive. Circle right back there. See what I did? 10 minutes till the top of the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
President Biden briefed on bomb threats toward President Trump, or rather President-elect Trump appointees. And Mayor Freddie O'Connell just signed another executive order. We'll tell you what it does coming up at 4 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I'm looking forward to that. That's coming up in mere moments. Like 3 moments. Well, if a minute's a moment. Is a minute a moment?
It'd be about 4 moments.
4 moments then. 4 moments from now, we'll have the news with Ken Weaver on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. There's Ken. There's Chris. My name's Matt. We're here for the duration until 7 o'clock, and we'll hand off to Mark Levin at that time, and we'll call it a Thanksgiving week at that moment. 615-737-9986 is our telephone number. Stephen, we got a moment for him. Hello, Stephen.
Hey, how's it going, Matt?
What's happening, Stephen?
I'm just getting ramped up for turkey weekend here.
What you got going on there tomorrow? What's happening?
I'm going to be actually rolling from Kansas City up to Chicago, but I'll find somewhere along the way to grab something.
Hey, let me strongly. You know one of the busiest restaurants on Christmas, Thanksgiving, New Year's.
Golden Corral.
The old I don't know that Golden Corral's open. Maybe they are. The old WH. Waffle House.
Waffle House.
Oh, yeah.
No way. Man.
Oh, no. I spent years in college. When I was in college, I spent years every Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's Eve working at Waffle House. You got to work at Waffle. I mean, the way that they used to do it, they required every employee to work Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's. Everyone.
Yeah.
And if you called in sick, you got fired. Yeah, well, I mean, they'll serve you something good over there, Stephen. Hold on, Stephen. I took up all of your time, and our moments have ticked away. And now it's time for a moment with Ken Weaver on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. We'll get back to your calls and a visit with Jay St. Clair, my legal correspondent and gambling buddy. It's called Fry Jay on Wednesday. We'll do that next. Get your questions in. 615-737-9986. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN and The Drive.
This is Brian Wilson with your market report. The Dow was down 138 today, S&P down 22, NASDAQ down 115. What's causing all the pre-Thanksgiving red? Let's check in with John Maxon over at Beacon Capital Management.
Oh, good afternoon, Brian. Yeah, kind of a negative day on the markets. Stocks slipped a bit, but still up, obviously, on the year. Inflation took back center stage again, and we had the Fed's favorite inflation gauge that came out today, and there was a little bit of disappointment in the market. Inflation has continued to go down, but the market was disappointed. The PC index actually rose 0.3, which was literally within expectations of the market. However, year over year, core inflation was up 2.8. It's kind of going sideways now. So now the question becomes, is the Fed going to continue to lower interest rates, or will they take a pause? This comes on the heels of another inflation report that showed a little bit of an increase earlier this month. So just a little bit of a pause in the market. So something important to pay attention to, and happy Thanksgiving to everybody.
Thank you, John. And to find out what John Maxon and all the good people at Beacon can do to help you get ready for your retirement, just go to their website, askbeaconnow.com.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Going to tell you about this rain we're going to encounter over the holidays during the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. The Trump transition team says some of the president-elect's nominees have been the victims of phony threats since last night. A spokesperson said it ranged from bomb threats to swatting. ABC News White House correspondent Karen Travers with the latest from the Biden administration.
President Biden has been briefed on the bomb threats and swatting incidents made against some of President-elect Trump's nominees. The White House says it is in touch with federal law enforcement and Trump's team and continues to monitor the situation closely. A White House official said the federal law enforcement response remains ongoing, and the president and the Biden administration, quote, unequivocally condemn threats of political violence.
President-elect Trump says retired General Keith Kellogg will serve as his special envoy for Ukraine and Russia. ABC's senior White House correspondent Selena weighing on what we know about Kellogg's position on Ukraine.
He writes that the U.S. should condition aid to Ukraine on Ukraine entering peace talks with Russia. He also writes that NATO leaders should hold off on granting Ukraine membership for an extended period in exchange for a comprehensive and verifiable peace deal with security guarantees. And also, just like several other Trump appointees, General Kellogg is a current Fox News contributor.
A law enforcement alert obtained by ABC News now warning about a rash of iPhone thefts across the country. The thieves hitting homes where phones have been delivered and may be disguised as legitimate delivery personnel. Here's ABC's Aaron Katursky.
Just last month in Virginia, a doorbell camera captured a suspect stealing an iPhone package and pulling a gun on an eyewitness riding his lawnmower. It's one of more than 75 incidents reported in Northern Virginia alone. Law enforcement sources tell ABC News thieves are specifically targeting AT&T customers who order new iPhones and have them delivered to their home.
Here in Nashville, Mayor Freddie O'Connell has issued his Executive Order 53 that creates Nashville's first Office of Youth Safety. They're going to be taking applications soon for someone to run it. The goal is to get kids to stop killing each other by coming up with programs that prevent conflicts from escalating into gun violence and equip youth with conflict resolution skills with a focus that is separate from the criminal justice system. And a group is asking a Chancery Court judge in Nashville to pause a hemp rule growers say will put them out of business and deny what growers say is medicine their customers need. Rodney Croteau, owner of Green Daisy in Franklin, telling News 2 it's the flower which you can smoke that provides a marijuana-like high.
Over a third of my business sales is from these products, THCA flower and a lot of the vape. So it's a significant impact that will obviously impact us tremendously from a financial standpoint. And more importantly, my folks, my customers that rely on this medicine for various, health issues.
No word on whether the judge will decide before December 26th, which is when this new rule takes effect. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, let's run down the list of crashes we have to get around this evening. We've got 65 northbound near Vietnam Veterans Boulevard. Also, Gallatin Pike near Alta Loma Road. 40 westbound near 840. Still working that one out at Dixon. And then 40 eastbound near I-440. That's exit 206. 40 westbound near Spence Lane. 65 southbound near Trinity Lane. Then Whites Creek Pike just north of West Trinity Lane. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It is Super Talk 99.7 WTN, just after 4 o'clock, and this is The Drive. Brian Wilson off today, Matt Murphy in for Brian. Chris Webber behind the glass, Ken Weaver right behind him in News Closet B. We're here till 7 o'clock, or till the cows come home, whichever comes first. We got Fry Jay coming up in just a couple of minutes. If you have a question for our man, Jay St. Clair, if you've ever heard Jay during our normal time from noon until 3, normally he's on between noon and 3, and normally he's on Fry Jay, but it's Fry Jay on Wednesday. If you have any legal question whatsoever, he answers all comers at 615-737-9986. You can certainly call and dial us up and ask the question on the line, or you can ask the question on the super text line. You're invited to do that. 615-737-9986. I'm kind of laughing because I was telling Chris Webber, I've seen various clips of the Kamala Harris. I don't know what you would. I mean, I think it's between her and Tim Walz, and they're kind of dissecting what happened and whatever. We are told that her staff did not want her to do the video.
I've read that as well.
And that she insisted to do the video. It is longer than just the 20 or 30 or 40-second clips that you might have seen online. I finally found it was tough to get through all of the memes that have been created for it because a lot of people have put it together with like, there's one with Robin Williams from Good Will Hunting where she's talking, and then when she pauses, he says, "It's not your fault." and so every time she pauses, there's Robin Williams that pops up and goes, "It's not your fault. It's not your fault."
What about the one where she's got a bottle of bourbon in that hand that keeps moving around?
A little maker's mark waggling around in her hand. But I finally found the original. And I think the original's worse than all of that put together. It is 9.5. I'll just to give you an example, I'm just randomly, I picked a random spot. I promise you this is random. At 3 minutes and 56 seconds, I just poked at this spot on the clip. It's 9 minutes and 49 seconds long. Let's just listen.
Voters. Many of you are first-time voters. And to talk about how being involved can make a difference, and that remains true. And that's one of the pieces that I just want us to please take away, that our fight for freedom and for opportunity and for the promise of America, it included, for example, nearly almost 4 million first-time contributors to our campaign because of the work you did of helping people know that they can be engaged and that they're not outside, that they're inside, that we're all in this together.
Okay, that was 30 seconds. Somebody tell me what she said. I pay $100 to make sense of what she just said. There's a lot of nonsense. Oh, boy, America dodged a bullet there, boy. A bullet, an absolute bullet. Okay, so we'll get to more of your telephone calls. We'll get to the Tren de Aragua issue in Nashville that apparently Freddie O'Connell has now admitted is truly happening. I don't know if he thought he was supposed to or not, but he certainly did. Fox 17 deserves a hat tip here, too, because it was their piece that I noticed this morning that led me to run down that rabbit hole. So we'll get into that as well on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. But right now it's 12 minutes after 4 o'clock, and it's not Friday, it's Friday. Ah, yes, it's time for our man. He is my legal correspondent. He's the finest legal mind I've ever known. He's a good Tennessee man. He also happens to be my best friend, my golfing partner, my gambling buddy, and my life consultant. His name is Jay St. Clair. Hello, Jay.
Hey, buddy.
Jay, I've got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
How you doing?
You know, man, if I were any better, I would be my Secretary of Homeland Security.
Miss Olivia.
She is loving life right now. I have, quote, worked from home.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
The last couple of days.
Yeah, she digs that, doesn't she?
And she's loving it. She's very upset right now. She may start barking here a little bit.
That's all good. For those who do not know, Miss Olivia is Jay's Secretary of Homeland Security, and that is also his beautiful German Shepherd.
Yeah. Oh, I sleep really well at night.
Man, let me tell you something. Gary the groundhog would not survive in my backyard. Beasley and Munson allow it to happen. They don't like it, but they allow it.
Right.
I don't think Olivia would allow it.
No, the only way Gary would make it is if he had the survival skills of Lazarus, the possum.
Ken Weaver's in the background there. Jay. Ken, have you heard this story?
No.
Oh, Jay, would you do us the Thanksgiving honor of retelling the Lazarus story?
Okay, so it was Saturday morning. Got up early before daybreak and go play golf, go outside, and there's a dead possum in my front yard. Yeah, and I can't leave a possum out there, right? It's because I'm in a neighborhood. And so I said, well, I got to put this possum up. And I go get a trash bag, and I poke him real good, right? Because I know about playing possum. Everybody knows about playing possum.
But this guy was dead.
He is graveyard dead. There's no doubt about it. So I get him in the bag, put him in the trash can, go play golf, come home, really kind of forget about it. And I'm working around the yard, go over to put some stuff in the trash can. You know the big trash can you see out on the street?
Yeah.
And I lift the lid up, and there's this angry possum staring his teeth at me. You know how, like, grinning like a possum? And I'm gobsmacked. I'm just sitting there thinking, how in the world did this possum crawl in this trash can? No, it's a 34 foot high trash can.
Yeah, how'd the possum get in there?
And he opened the lid. And so I'm just gobsmacked. And I sit back for a little bit, and then I remember, oh yeah, there was that possum, that dead possum. And so I'm still, and he was graveyard dead. And so I'm thinking, I said, well, maybe it's his family that has come to pay their last respects.
Like
the
one possum kind of smelled the other possum, and
brother, cousin,
right. Sure.
It was missing. And I said, well, I still don't understand who crawled in there. So I go look in there again, and I look down in the bag where I'd put the dead possum. It's empty.
Well,
it's empty. So I put two and two together, and I said, well, my word. And I'm still really gobsmacked, and so I named him Lazarus. Because he rose from the dead, and now I got live Lazarus in the train, and Olivia, my German Shepherd, sitting there watching every bit of it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I can't just turn him loose because she'll kill him again. And so I'm in a real quandary. I don't know what to do. And so I said, okay, here's what Lazarus, you got one shot. Olivia and I, we're going to go over to the Publix and get lunch, and I'm going to tip this trash can over, and you're on your own. You got one shot. And so I put Olivia in the truck because if I turned him loose, she'd kill him again. And so we'd go off and come back and go eat lunch, and I go down. I said, okay. And went down there, and Lazarus was gone.
Lazarus made it.
Smart possum.
That's a smart possum.
And Chris, what I learned is they don't play I got, being a nerd I am, I had to figure out what happened. They don't play possum. They are actually in a coma.
Interesting.
They're in a coma to the point where you could break a bone and they wouldn't flinch.
Interesting.
Absolutely in a coma. It's just a defensive man because, you know, scavengers or like a dog, he's not going to eat a dead possum.
Right.
So it's just nature's defensive mechanism. And, yeah, so that's, Gary might need to take some lessons from last year.
Well, Gary is full up on sweet potatoes right now. He's been moving sweet potatoes from the yard underneath the yard. So I think he's getting ready to. I mean, I looked it up because I'm kind of a nerd like you about these types of things. And Gary the groundhog is supposed to be hibernating by now, but apparently the warm conditions in the middle of Tennessee have prevented him from doing so. But he's obviously preparing because he's a lot more active. He's eating everything in sight right now.
Oh, well, he's smart.
Oh, yeah.
He's smart.
Well, Jay, we got a number of questions already coming in, and I've got a few questions for you of a legal nature. First and foremost, obviously Donald Trump, the questions have come in for me about whether or not he can pardon himself, and I think that's a kind of an open constitutional question from a federal perspective. But I think I'm right that because this deal up in New York is a state deal, he couldn't pardon himself from that. Is that correct?
Yeah, you're exactly right. Dang,
I've learned a lot. Look, I'm not just picking goobers while we're playing golf over there, Jay. I'm studying up, listening. So what if you had to guess? And I know this might be a little bit of a fool's errand, but is Juan Merchan, this judge in that New York case, do you feel like he's going to dismiss it? I mean, is he foolish enough to try to move it forward in some fashion? What do you think?
Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to turn around and ask you the question because this question is actually more in your area than mine. Mm-hmm. I'm a legal expert. I don't know anything about politics. You're the political expert. This case was never about law, man. It was always about politics.
Mm-hmm. You said that from the beginning.
You're asking me, what's the judge going to do? Well, I'm going to ask you the question, and your answer will be what he will do. If you were the judge in this case, how do you think you can hurt Donald Trump the most? Because that's what he'll do. That's what he wants to do. That's what he's wanted to do. What he wanted to do was keep him from being president. Well, that play didn't work. And so now he's like the dog that caught the bus. So at this point, he can't send him to prison while he's president. Well, let's put that on the table. What do you think would happen to Donald Trump's popularity numbers if they put him in New York State prison?
They would skyrocket.
He would become the most popular president in the history of this country.
I mean, I think you asked the question, and my instinct is this, Jay, that the way that he could hurt him the most politically, which is the design of all of this, is to dismiss the charges and do so in a fashion where he declares that Donald Trump got away with it. That there's nothing I can do. I wish I could do something more, but he's about to be president. He's got all this immunity when he's president. And you know what? He got away with it. That way, the political allies of Juan Merchan would declare for the next 4 years that he is a convicted felon. Is what
you're never going to believe this, man. But I had a case one time that was the most frivolous, stupid case that I've ever heard of. We drug them for years, and we finally were set for trial, like 2 or 3 months away from trial. And the lawyer on the other side, the people that had filed the lawsuit, file a pleading saying, we have proven our case. We have demonstrated that the other side was wrong. So there's no need to go forward with this. And therefore, we are dismissing our case.
Wait a minute. So they
declared victory and walked out in the middle of the game.
Huh.
Yeah.
So they sued, and the other side fought back.
Right.
And in the middle of all of this, after years of money and litigation, they just looked at the judge and said, Judge, we're not pursuing this anymore because we feel like we've won, and we're leaving.
We've won. We've won. There's nothing else to do. We've won. We're declaring victory. It's like in the middle of the third quarter, Vanderbilt saying, oh, well, okay.
We won the game.
We won. We're going home.
And the ref's going, wait a minute, if you leave now, we're going to have to give the victory to Tennessee. No, we won.
Yeah, well, that's fine. We've already won. Everybody knows we won.
By the way, by the way, Jay's talking about some fellas that sued me and others. How long that case go?
I wasn't going to say that.
Well, I mean, I will. I wish I still had that letter. I mean, it was a 2-page letter talking about how they are awful, they're horrible, we're good, they're bad, we won, they lost, and oh, by the way, this lawsuit that we brought for all this money that we've drug out for 3 years, just forget about all that.
You know, so thinking about it some more, you may have absolutely just hit a bullseye. That may be exactly what he does.
I think he does. I think he does.
There's a lot of wisdom in that.
Well, because if he lets it go, then I would believe that Donald Trump's people, his private attorneys, I think they could continue the appellate process and get it overturned. And I don't think he wants to get it overturned. If it gets overturned, then he loses all that steam. If he just gets
he's no longer a convicted felon.
That's right.
They can't call him a convicted felon if it gets dismissed. So yeah, you know. I like that a lot.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I mean, but boy, oh boy, that Trump hatred sometimes blinds these folks to whatever they're trying to do. Jay St. Clair is with us for the better part of the hour. We've got a lot of Jay St. Clair questions on the Super Talk text line. We'd invite you to get them in, 615-737-9986. My question for Jay is, we're going to talk about the Denver mayor and his decision that he's going to go to jail if the federal government tries to enforce federal immigration law. We'll talk about that next on Super Talk.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lockboxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products?
With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70% off retail.
Members Nutrition can't change your life, but we can change the way you live.
President Biden briefed on the bomb threats and swatting incidents made against some of President-elect Trump's nominees. Mayor Freddie O'Connell has issued another executive order. We'll tell you what it does coming up at 4:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you much, Mr. Ken Weaver. Jay St. Clair's with us on this Friday edition on the Drive, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. If you have a legal question, get it in here. 615-737-9986. 615-737-9986. Jay, and by the way, before I get away from it, only Brian Kemp can pardon. Now, I think 2666, if I'm understanding you correctly, you might be, there's so many different Trump trials. I think you might be conflating the Georgia deal and the New York deal. I think the Georgia deal's over, isn't it, Jay?
Well, it's on appeal.
Okay.
It was dismissed. Well, they actually didn't dismiss the case, man. They just kicked the prosecutor off, Fannie, and that's on appeal. But as a matter of law, no state can try a sitting president. So the worst that happens there is that sits on ice until, and all of these are over with while Trump is president. That's the bottom line. Nobody's going to put him in prison or trying while he is president. And then we'll see what happens once he gets out of office.
I find it amusing, and you and I were kind of going back and forth a little bit about this earlier, that the same Democrats who were in power in the White House and in charge of implementation and execution of immigration law for the federal government, who aggressively went after states like Texas and Arizona and a few others, that attempted to enforce federal law. They said, no, you don't have any authority to enforce federal law. And now those same Democrats are suggesting that they don't have to abide by the new federal, the policies of the Trump administration. I mean, it seems odd to me, Jay. I mean, the courts have, and you and I have talked about this for years, have regularly stated that, the federal government is the final authority on immigration law. Is that not right?
No question about it. No question about it. And so I guess what these states are saying, though, well, okay, that's fine. You can enforce your law, but we're just not going to help you. And then, that's their call. But it may go a little further than that. And, because this guy in Denver is saying, well, I may stand in your way. And he's got to be careful because it is a crime to attempt to conceal, harbor, or shield from detection illegal aliens. That's a crime. It's a federal crime, and you go to prison for 10 years for it, man.
Wow.
So it's one thing to say, look, we're not helping. If you're going to go round up people, we're not going with you. But it's a different thing to hide them or help them avoid capture. That's a federal crime.
Well, and I
be careful about that.
And it's a war of words right now, but it might escalate as Trump actually gets into power. All right, Jay's with us. We'll get to your questions on the Super Text line in just a moment. It is now 4:30 on Super Talk.
4:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Going to tell you about the rain moving in during the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. President Biden's been briefed on the bomb threats and swatting incidents made against some of President-elect Trump's nominees. Here's Selena Wang.
Trump's spokesperson Caroline Leavitt says that several of Trump's cabinet picks and appointees had faced threats last night and this morning and said those threats range from bomb threats to swatting.
White House says it's in touch with federal law enforcement and Trump's team and continues to monitor the situation closely. Meanwhile, AT&T customers being urged to stay cautious as thieves are using cellular data to track and steal deliveries, particularly iPhones. These thieves dressing up like Amazon or other delivery service workers. And here in Nashville, Mayor Freddie O'Connell issuing an executive order aimed at getting kids to stop killing each other. It creates the first ever Office of Youth Safety and will be posting for the position of director in early December. Money News, Michelle Franzen.
Losses for some big tech companies offset gains elsewhere in the market. The Dow losing 138 points, the S&P fell 23, and the Nasdaq dropped 115 points. HP plummeted nearly 12% after a weaker than expected earnings forecast for the current quarter. Dell also dropped 12% after its quarterly revenue fell short of forecasts. The Commerce Department says the U.S. economy expanded at a healthy 2.8% annual pace from July through September. That was driven by strong consumer spending and a surge in exports. Another report, the Personal Consumption Expenditures Index, finds inflation accelerated last month. The average on a 30-year mortgage slipped a little last week, but remains at 6.8%. But the Mortgage Bankers Association says applications increased by 12% last week compared to the week before.
That is the latest news, traffic, and weather. Next, I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, let's run down the list of crashes, shall we? We've got Gallatin Pike near Old Hickory Boulevard in Madison. Jolton injury crash blocking the left lane of 24 eastbound at exit 35. And then 40 eastbound right before Fessler's Lane, just east of downtown. Right shoulder is blocked. 65 northbound near Vietnam Veterans Boulevard. Police on the scene there. 40 westbound before Spence Lane, exit 213. And 65 southbound near Trinity Lane. Picking up an injury crash here, Briley Parkway southbound at I-24. And then Briley Parkway westbound in Madison near Ellington Parkway, that's exit 15AB. And then in West Nashville, injury crash reported 40 eastbound near I-440. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
You hear about those cold conditions outside, those freezing conditions outside, and what that means is the bugs and the critters, and particularly the rodents that are out of doors, are going to try to get inside, into your basement, into your crawl space, into your walls. They're trying to take what is yours, your warmth and your food. You need to keep these bugs, these roaches, these creepy crawlies, and these rodents out of your property with U.S. Pest. The man with the plan is J.K. Brister and his team at U.S. Pest. Go over to U.S. Pest and see the many options that they provide, but JK has this message for you. Do not stop pest control service during the winter months. A lot of people do this, and it is a mistake because it takes you time to build that pest control back up by the time the spring comes around, and you allow these rodents, these roaches, these mice, these rats even, inside of your home as you do so. Let's get with U.S. Pest, and let's stop all of this today. Go to uspest.com. That's uspest.com, or call 615-590-1260, 590-1260, and tell them Matt Murphy sent you to the one and only U.S. Pest.
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products?
With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70% off retail.
Members Nutrition can't change your life, but we can change the way you live.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy in the middle of downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We've talked so much about Savory Spice. I thought, why not show you the place? So let's go on in and see what's popping at Savory Spice. As I've always said, you will smell the spices even before you walk in. I can smell them right here in the doorway. Come on in, and let's introduce you to the one and only Holly, who is the owner and proprietor of Savory Spice. Say hey, Holly.
Hello, everyone.
Now, enough about Holly. Let's talk about spicy and easy products like the incredible taco soup, which, as I said, you put this in a crock pot, you put all the ingredients that it tells you to buy right there, you put the spices in, and it's so easy. So if you don't know what you're doing around the kitchen, it's a perfect way to find your way around the kitchen, as is the Mediterranean dill risotto. Now, for the holidays, pumpkin pie spice. What doesn't it have, Holly?
Pumpkin.
Doesn't have any pumpkin in it. That's a fun fact for all of you kids out there. Now, if you stop by Savory Spice, either in the Franklin location or at L&L Market, you can get yourself a sample of the dill dip, which is my absolute favorite. Just tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice with purchase now. So come by Franklin or L&L Market in Nashville and come see Holly and the entire crew at Savory Spice.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN, Matt Murphy and you. Also, Jay St. Clair here. I have one of these days I'm going to come up with an errors song. Errors. I make errors. I make errors with frequency. So I need to clean up a couple of errors from earlier in the show. I think I said that Tren de Aragua was Mexican. I believe I said that. I think I did. They are not. They are Venezuelan, as several of you on the Super Text line have indicated to me. Secondly, and I got Jay St. Clair back in here because I know he'll know this. I said that Otis was, and I guess this is kind of a technicality. It depends on what you consider to be a regular on Andy Griffith. But I said that Otis was the only regular that was married, and he was the town drunk. Mm-hmm. And I've been reminded that the mayor did have a wife.
Oh yeah, he did.
And that Floyd, and someone with a lot of knowledge, and Jay, you have a lot of knowledge about Andy Griffith. Mm-hmm. But somebody said that Floyd at one point borrowed his wife's stick because they didn't have a gun in the episode High Noon in Mayberry. So I guess Floyd had a wife. We just never met her.
I'm not sure. Maybe there was a continuity problem there because you remember he had the lady pen pal.
Yeah, that's right.
Maybe he was a widow.
I would guess that he could be a widow. I would put him in there with the Andy widow category.
Mm-hmm. That's right. He did. He had the woman pen pal who came to visit him, and he was all worried. I guess, what did they do? Floyd.
Well, they pretended that Andy was his son.
That's right. That's right. That's
he said that he had told her he owned Lawson Enterprises, and so Andy, and then Aunt B had to play his maid. Because the lady was, she was acting like she had a lot of money. It turns out she was as big a fraud as he was.
Right.
It foreshadowed the internet.
What? Oh yeah, I guess that's true. No, that's right. That makes sense. Yeah.
It foreshadowed dating apps.
Right.
Is what it did. Right.
Yeah. Everybody looks awesome on their dating app photo. Right.
Absolutely. On the best behavior on the first date.
That's right. All right, Jay, let's get into some of these questions. Sean has been on hold out of Nash with a question for Jay St. Clair. Sean, good afternoon. Welcome to The Drive.
Hey, Jay. Hey, Matt. My question is, so I'm in the military. Every time I PCS, I buy a house. I don't know what's safer for me. Do I need to break them up into LLCs or a trust?
I couldn't quite make it out. Something about buying a house or what you want to
say the first part. I didn't understand the first part of the question. You're in the military, and every time you what?
So I'm in the military, and every time I PCS.
What is
move,
what is PCS?
Oh, it's every time I move, I change duty stations.
Okay.
And then I buy a house. Well, I have tenants in those houses, and I just don't know what's safer for me. Do I need to just build a trust or break them up into LLCs?
Yeah, so in other words, you buy a house in one location, and then when you move, you keep the house, and then you keep it as rental property.
Correct.
Wow, you're smart.
That is smart.
Do you need an in-house lawyer? That's very clever. You know, so there's a couple of things going on. The only reason really to have separate legal entities, Sean, is for liability reasons. You know, that if somebody gets hurt in one house, then they can only sue you for that house. They can't sue you for all the other ones. I don't think that's really an issue here. So I don't think that there's any liability reasons. I don't see where a trust really gains you anything. Do you have them all in your own name now, or do you have some kind of separate business entity?
I have them all in my name. I use the VA loan. And then
yeah, you know, I would say this, Sean. I would probably set it up as an LLC so that it is separate. That way it is different from your personal assets. And if, heaven forbid, if something were to happen within the business, then all they can do is try to get the value of the business. They can't come and get your personal stuff. So for that reason, and you don't need a separate LLC for each one. And it's really just simple and not that expensive to set up an LLC. And it won't have any negative tax advantage or tax consequences. So I would set it up as an LLC. And frankly, you can probably do better on deducting business expenses that way. You know, because right now you got that 2% cap for some things, which wouldn't be true with the LLC. So I'd set up an LLC.
There you go.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Sean, thank you. And sorry, I didn't understand. PCS is permanent change of station in the military parlance.
Well, how clever. What a clever way to deal with that.
That's really smart, actually.
You've got a real estate empire going on. That's a pretty good side gig.
Well, yeah. I mean, and you know what? Rental properties, you're probably going to cover whatever mortgage you have on the home through the – I mean, no, Sean, that's very, very smart. There's a lot of smart people in the world. John is one of them out of Cookeville, and he's got a question for Jay St. Clair. Hello, John.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Doing great, John. Thank you.
My question is, it pertains to two minor children.
Mm-hmm.
It's a kind of a custody battle. There was a restraining order last September, which actually didn't go to court until December and wasn't signed by the judge until January the 8th of this year.
Mm-hmm.
The restraining order is against a guy that has 4 felony domestic assaults and one felony child abuse.
Wow.
So she falls in love with this guy, and he moves into the house with her, which he's not allowed to be around the kids at any time, none whatsoever.
Right.
So it's in the writing and in the judge's orders.
Right.
So it goes back to court.
Yeah, he's violating the order, and she knows it, but she's okay with it.
Right. So it goes back to court. She admits it in court in front of the judge.
Yep.
Her lawyer stands up and says, well, it's a misunderstanding. And the judge says, well, we'll give it one more time. He wouldn't issue ex parte. So now these two minor children are in the hands of this convicted
Are these
felon.
your children?
My grandchildren.
Yeah, okay.
So is the question, is there anything you can do about it, John?
Correct. Because, I mean, it's the judge's own words. It's what he put in play.
Yeah.
Everything's been tried. We've done everything as court's ordered.
Right.
But now that we go back to court, and he's like, well, it was a misunderstanding on her part, her attorney's part.
Yeah, boy, that's a tough spot to be in. You're going to need a lawyer. It's got to be the judge. I mean, somebody's got to turn the judge around. It's his order. and he's the person in the first instance who can interpret the order. You're not a party to the case, so you really don't have a right to appeal. There is not a simple answer to this. You could try to get a lawyer, or you could get a lawyer, and you could try to intervene as a grandparent, and that's doable. But the legal system is not perfect, sir, and this is just a case of it where it's not perfect. If she were complaining, I'm certain the judge would do something different. But I think the key thing in the judge's mind is she's not complaining. She's probably the one that swore out the restraining order against her.
No,
right?
no, it was my son. We've got a lawyer, and we was in court today.
Oh, okay.
And that's what I was wondering.
So, I mean, if your son's the one that got the order, then, and if he has a lawyer, then the lawyer can appeal the judge's decision. That's really all you can do.
Well, best of luck, John. I'm so sorry that that's happening to you, but I mean, Jay, you've taught me over the years. I mean, the amount of power in the 20 years we've known each other. The true amount of power that judges have in their places of jurisdiction. I mean,
their kingdom. That's right. It's his order. Yeah, he's the person in the first instance who gets to interpret his order. And if you don't like how the order is interpreted, then all you can do is appeal it. And if your son already has a lawyer, then he should be aware of that. And, I mean, that's just all you can do.
Let's do a few rapid fire before we have to say happy Thanksgiving and goodbye, Jay. Tommy has written in and says, this is for Jay. I own my house, my truck, my motorcycle. Good for you, Tommy. My question is, what is the best way to leave this for my 5 kids?
It's a great question. I wish, Tommy, if you're married, that makes a difference. But there's a couple things here. One is, you want to have a will, just so it's very clear how that gets distributed. But here's number 2. Here's what I think you may be talking about. Maybe you're not, but I'm going to talk to you about it. There is a way to avoid probate court. But what you have to do is put property in the names of the people you want to leave it with.
Mm-hmm.
But so the first thing you need to do is have a will. And in the will, specify who gets what. And then the second thing, and I'm facing this, I've got just one son. I'm going to start putting a lot of what I own in his name.
Mm-hmm.
So that when I meet my maker, he doesn't have to go to probate court.
Mm-hmm.
Matt Murphy is an expert on probate court.
Yeah, I'm an expert on getting around probate court, but I don't know that.
Yeah.
Jay, Jay, I'm going to tell you from personal experience, I would put you're the lawyer. I'm not telling you what to do, but I would put some sort of rider in whatever you're doing that demands that Chuck finish painting those poles in your garage before he gets anything.
It so takes away from this beautiful floor you and I put down in this garage. I'm sitting there looking at it right now.
Jay, this is an easy one. Kathy's written in and says, can Donald Trump pardon everyone in jail for this supposed insurrection when he gets into office?
Well, all the ones that are in federal jail, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then finally, Jay, I lost everything in my business in the 2010 flood. I never bounced back. I lost my home in 2018 in a foreclosure. I did not file for bankruptcy. That's a tough story. Now I have an old $6,000 debt that has resurfaced. I don't have it. How can I make them a legal offer for less? The company that has the debt bought it from my old bank.
Absolutely. You absolutely could do it, and they will take some percentage less than 100%.
Mm-hmm.
You absolutely can do it. You can always work a deal with somebody.
Right.
So I absolutely encourage you. Reach out to them. Don't be silent. Reach out to them and tell them, look, here's the deal. You can't get blood out of a turnip, but I can pay you 10 cents on the dollar. And they may say, well, how about 20? So, yeah, absolutely be in touch with them. Tell them you want to make it right, but you just don't have that kind of money laying around, and then just tell them, but here's what I'll do. I bet you they'd take it.
Yeah, I bet so too, especially something that seems that old.
Yeah, it's that old. It's probably already been written off.
Right. Jay, that's going to do it. Listen, you know how much I love you, and I appreciate you, and this day before Thanksgiving, I tell you that I'm thankful for you.
Well, I was just about to say I have so many things to be thankful for, and I have a personal improvement plan. My priorities are faith, family, fitness, fun, and friends. And my pastor is the one that said add friends to that, Jay. And you're my best friend, Matt, and I love you, and I'm thankful for that.
Well, and I'm thankful that you're up here in Tennessee with our broader friend group that is the listening audience, and they love you too. Thank you, Jay. Have a good Thanksgiving, brother.
Go Big Orange.
All right. We slipped one in there, homies. 52 after the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy in the middle of downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We've talked so much about Savory Spice. I thought, why not show you the place? So let's go on in and see what's popping at Savory Spice. As I've always said, you will smell the spices even before you walk in. I can smell them right here in the doorway. Come on in, and let's introduce you to the one and only Holly, who is the owner and proprietor of Savory Spice. Say hey, Holly.
Hello, everyone.
Now, enough about Holly. Let's talk about spicy and easy products like the incredible taco soup, which, as I said, you put this in a crock pot, you put all the ingredients that it tells you to buy right there, you put the spices in, and it's so easy. So if you don't know what you're doing around the kitchen, it's a perfect way to find your way around the kitchen, as is the Mediterranean dill risotto. Now, for the holidays, pumpkin pie spice. What doesn't it have, Holly?
Pumpkin.
Doesn't have any pumpkin in it. That's a fun fact for all of you kids out there. Now, if you stop by Savory Spice, either in the Franklin location or at L&L Market, you can get yourself a sample of the dill dip, which is my absolute favorite. Just tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice with purchase now. So come by Franklin or L&L Market in Nashville and come see Holly and the entire crew at Savory Spice. Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy in the middle of downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We've talked so much about Savory Spice. I thought, why not show you the place? So let's go on in and see what's popping at Savory Spice. As I've always said, you will smell the spices even before you walk in. I can smell them right here in the doorway. Come on in, and let's introduce you to the one and only Holly, who is the owner and proprietor of Savory Spice. Say hey, Holly.
Hello, everyone.
Now, enough about Holly. Let's talk about spicy and easy products like the incredible taco soup, which, as I said, you put this in a crock pot, you put all the ingredients that it tells you to buy right there, you put the spices in, and it's so easy. So if you don't know what you're doing around the kitchen, it's a perfect way to find your way around the kitchen, as is the Mediterranean dill risotto. Now, for the holidays, pumpkin pie spice. What doesn't it have, Holly?
Pumpkin.
Doesn't have any pumpkin in it. That's a fun fact for all of you kids out there. Now, if you stop by Savory Spice, either in the Franklin location or at L&L Market, you can get yourself a sample of the dill dip, which is my absolute favorite. Just tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice with purchase now. So come by Franklin or L&L Market in Nashville and come see Holly and the entire crew at Savory Spice.
Five o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes. And President Biden has been briefed on the bomb threats and swatting incidents made against some of President-elect Trump's nominees. Here's ABC's Selena Wang.
Swatting is when someone makes a hoax phone call reporting an emergency situation with the intention of sending a SWAT team to a particular location. Now, Levitt said in a statement that law enforcement acted quickly to make sure that everybody was safe.
White House says it's in touch with federal law enforcement, Trump's team, and continues to monitor the situation closely. Meanwhile, AT&T customers being urged to stay cautious as thieves are using cellular data to track and steal deliveries, particularly iPhones.
Police are trying to determine how the thieves are getting cell phone tracking and delivery info so they can grab the iPhones from delivery drivers or customers, says a law enforcement bulletin obtained by ABC News. It says the incidents are getting increasingly violent. The bulletin says thieves are posing as delivery people wearing Amazon or construction vests. There have been over 70 incidents in Northern Virginia and over 50 in New York City.
Chuck Sievertson reporting. Here in Nashville, the Tennessean says a lawsuit has been filed to block the new sales tax increase voters approved to help pay for Mayor Freddie O'Connell's Choose How You Move transit plan. This lawsuit is from the Committee to Stop an Unfair Tax, led by former Metro Council member Emily Evans. It was filed today. And Mayor Freddie O'Connell today signed an executive order creating Nashville's first ever Office of Youth Safety. The goal to focus on intervention to stop conflict from escalating to using guns on people. A new director of youth safety in the mayor's office will oversee the work of this new office, and a job posting for the position is expected early next month. Here in Nashville, a group is asking a Chancery Court judge to pause a hemp rule growers say will put them out of business and hurt their customers. Rodney Croteau, owner of Green Daisy in Franklin, telling News 2.
This overreach really with the THCA flower is just a way of trying to ban a lot of these good products that these people need.
Lawmakers went back and forth on the issue last week, with House Majority Leader William Lamberth saying all the rules are necessary in order to ensure consumers are protected.
Flour, any other products, anything. We wanted products to be available out there that are hemp-derived, that, quite frankly, is not like what I see on the billboards now. Real weed. Buy it now in Tennessee.
No word on whether the judge will rule before the rule takes effect on December 26th. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Got a crash in South Nashville. This is 24 eastbound at Murfreesboro Pike. Then in Madison, Gallatin Pike near Old Hickory Boulevard. Oh, looky here. 24 eastbound again in Montgomery County. That's at Clarksville. Then 40 eastbound before Fessler's Lane. 40 westbound before Spence Lane. 65 northbound near Vietnam Veterans Boulevard. 24 eastbound near Whites Creek Pike. And 24 eastbound near Almaville. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Halfway home the drive, it is 5:08 and a good afternoon. My name is Matt Murphy. Thank you for being with us on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. In for Brian Wilson on the drive this Wednesday before Turkey Day, Thanksgiving. We'll talk about turkeys coming up in about 22 minutes, or actually a little longer than that, about 30 minutes or so. As we nominate our turkeys of the year, I have charged Mr. Chris Weber and Mr. Ken Weaver with coming up with a couple of turkeys on their mind as to the year that was 2024, and we'll do that at about. And we'll take your nominations as well on the Super Text line, 615-737-9986, 615-737-WWTN on the phone lines as well. So, by the way, Ken.
Yes, sir.
I'm so sorry about your loss on I-24. Well, at least you're not on I-24 right now.
I'm not going to get home until Christmas.
I'm well established that when Ken does the traffic, he's sorry for everybody that's stuck in a bad traffic situation. If it's on I-40 or I-65 or anywhere else.
Yes.
But if it's on I-24, there's a noticeable change in tone.
Yeah.
As Ken Weaver's obvious disgust over the entire interstate comes out over the radio. Oh, look, I-24. Oh, look, there's another one. Oh, looky there. Oh, it's as if everything's at a standstill, and I'm not going to get home until the turkey's all gone and put up in a
happy
freezer bag.
Thanksgiving, yes.
You should hear what doesn't make it on the air.
Well, son of a biscuit eater.
Son of a biscuit eater.
That's good. Well, just keep us apprised with what's going on in that traffic. I know that it's bad. Look, we were told that this would be I feel like every year we're told that it's the most traveled Thanksgiving, or pick your holiday here. Thanksgiving and Christmas mostly.
Yeah, every year it's a new record.
It's always a new record. Well, I guess that would be the case because there's always more people being born, and there's always more people in the United States. And, we got to travel to grandma's.
More people getting their driver's license because they become of age every year.
Are you guys staying in Murfreesboro?
Yeah.
Ken Weaver?
Yep, staying down there in the borough.
What about the Weber clan?
Yeah, we're locking the doors, not leaving for 4 days.
Yeah, I'm on the road.
Where are you going?
I got to drive to Bama. And to get down to Bama. At some point tomorrow morning, I would expect, is when that's going to happen. It ain't happening anytime soon, based on Ken Weaver's traffic reports on Super Talk 99.7.
Well, at least you don't have to take 24.
WTN. Yeah, that's true. I have that. If you are stuck in traffic anywhere else, at least you're not on I-24.
At least it's not I-24, and it's not because somebody ran over a ladder.
Mm-hmm. That's true. And if you are on I-24, especially I-24 eastbound, according to Weaver a minute ago, and you're thinking, well, what about me, guys? I'm on I-24. Well, at least you're not on fire. How about that?
Exactly.
I've long said that no matter how bad a situation is, think to yourself, well, at least I'm not on fire.
Yeah.
It works in every situation unless
you're on fire.
You're on fire. Yeah. And in that case, I don't know what to tell you. Well, in that case, you can think, well, at least I'm not on I-24.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you're on I-24 and on fire, life has not gone well for you.
No,
I'm so sorry.
No,
it doesn't get any worse than that. All right, let's get back into it. So I mentioned Tren de Aragua. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly, one way or the other. It's a Venezuelan gang that it's made its way into the United States of America with a fair amount of numbers. Obviously, we're seeing some of these gangs pop up in New York City, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and some other major metropolitan areas. And the suggestion was made several weeks ago that these gangs are here in the state of Tennessee. And Democrats clapped back on this with a little bit of push, saying, oh, you guys don't know that. And when TBI came out and made a couple of mentions of it, the local authorities, including local authorities in Nashville, said, well, we haven't seen any trouble spots. Knoxville hasn't seen all of that. Memphis hasn't seen all of that, kind of downplaying the idea that we have Mexican gangs in our midst, Venezuelan gangs in our midst. MS-13 on the Mexican side of things and Tren de Aragua on the Venezuelan side of things. Well, there was a Fox 17 report. I'm going to play. It's about 2 minutes long that gives us a good bit of insight into what's going down. And Mayor Freddie O'Connell has a moment of clarity on this issue.
In Operation Crime and Justice, Fox 17 News pressing Nashville's mayor about a growing gang threat in Tennessee's bigger cities.
Now, this follows the human trafficking arrest of this man, a member of the Tren de Agra gang member down in Chattanooga.
At least he had
just this
trouble
week.
saying it, too.
Fox 17 News' Kylie Walker
so
at the Metro Courthouse
Fox
after
17,
tracking this story for more than a week.
People are asking me where this gang is the most active or saturated. It's a topic that I've covered for weeks now, but I've really
Kylie's
struggled
covering
to
it.
get
She's on top of
clear answers from local leaders and the TBI.
Here comes Freddie.
They're back in all of our major cities.
TBI Director David Roush made a
Now, this was a couple of weeks ago that David Roush said.
shocking announcement earlier this month warning Tennessee communities of a growing threat from a South American gang in major cities.
Mm-hmm.
Have you had any word of any of these members here in Nashville?
Freddie O'Connell.
What I will say is Chief Drake has advised us, I mean, even before the TBI report, we knew that they were active in Tennessee. The Metro Nashville Police Department has a very active and successful gang unit, and they have continually monitored that activity.
Mayor Freddie O'Connell.
I find it interesting, and thanks to Fox 17 for that report, hat tip to them. So I find it interesting that after 2 weeks of being told by any liberal in the state of Tennessee that those of us who are concerned about gang-related activity in this state are overstating our case or are somehow scaring people needlessly, now finally they're coming around to it and admitting that we have a gang-related problem as a result of our porous southern border. Now, a suggestion has been made, and I don't necessarily disagree with it, that we need to do more as a state to try to demagnetize this state of Tennessee and push these gangs out of the state. And frankly, I don't think January can come fast enough. Finally, we've got an administration that seems serious about it. We have a soon-to-be sworn-in border czar in the form of Tom Homan that seems dead set on finding these gangbangers, these gang members, and getting them the hell out of this country. And good for him, and better for the citizens of the United States of America. It is high time, regardless of your political stripe. And here's what I find. It's interesting. It would be amusing if it were not deadly. Because this is not a matter of, Lake and Riley happened and then it's over. Or, several of these one-offs that we see that pop up out of the news cycle, whether it be in Atlanta, Georgia, Athens, Georgia, in the case of Lake and Riley, or Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, or Virginia. We've seen case after case of this happening. It happens every single day that an American citizen is somehow negatively impacted by an illegal alien. This is not anti-alien. It's not anti-human being. I would suggest, similar to the way that our law enforcement treat drunk drivers, right? I think I'm right in this. Now, I've not studied Tennessee law. I know I'm right about this in Alabama, and I've not studied in Tennessee law. But I bet I'm right about this in Tennessee, too. If you consume alcohol and get drunk and get behind the wheel of a car, and then you get into an accident, it really does. Nobody's going to study up on who truly was at fault in the accident because you are drunk and you were not supposed to be there. You are, by the very nature of being behind the wheel of a car, at fault for the accident. Similarly, I'm not suggesting that all people that have come here illegally are necessarily bad people. This is not an anti-brown tirade, an anti-black tirade, an anti-anything tirade, anti-immigrant tirade. What it is to suggest is that America is special. America is that bright, shining city on a hill, and we will not continue our special nature and our special relationship with freedom and liberty and the ability to grow and blossom in the free market if we allow anybody and everybody to come into our country that naturally will drain from the system. If that seems hard-hearted or heavy-hearted or so be it. So be it. I understand that some of us, I recognize every single day that I get out of bed that we ought to be thankful on this day of Thanksgiving, Thanksgiving Eve, if you will, most certainly. I give thanks every single day that I was born in the greatest country on God's green earth. Every single day. And you should too. You know, I've long said that absent physical or mental impairment, that in the United States of America, that long-term poverty is a choice. I added in the United States of America, I said that for years. And I've been doing talk radio for a long time. And for years, I just said, absent mental or physical impairment, long-term poverty is a choice. And over the years, I had enough people talk to me with regard to their countries of origin or with regard to other parts of the world that I changed it. And I put in the United States of America in that phrase. Why? Because there are some countries where if you were born in that country, you got little to no shot, man. Little to no shot. Because they do not believe in the same concepts that we do, they just don't have the same opportunities that we do. There have not been enough. I'm not saying that many of these places can't get there with the right amount of time, with the right amount of guidance, with the right amount of leadership. I mean, there's an obvious example of Haiti, right? If you are born in Haiti, unless you are gifted as an athlete or in some other incredibly extraordinary fashion, you ain't got a shot, man. But in the United States of America, we have a shot. You can make anything of yourself with your toil, your tenacity, your hard work, seizing on the educational opportunities that are offered you in the United States of America. These are all things that we should be thankful for. And I am thankful that we further live in a country that believes in the idea of allowing others to come here. Gone are the days that we can just open the doors and allow anyone and everyone that wants to come in. We did that at one point in our country's history, where there was almost unvetted. I mean, there was some mild vetting at Ellis Island, some mild vetting at ports of entry, but it wasn't really robust or very serious. But we did not have the social safety nets in place at that time that those people could depend on either. You had to sink or swim in this country. But swim you could, unlike in other places around the world. Gone are those days because there's too many. Because sadly, if we opened our doors in the fashion that Joe Biden has chosen to do over the last 4 years, we see what happens. You get individuals that want to do harm to the United States of America from a terroristic standpoint. We know that. You see people that want to do illegal, dastardly, and immoral things, child smuggling, drug smuggling, human trafficking, and the like. You see other types of gang activity that come, and that does not mean that there aren't people that do truly want to make a better life for themselves. Well, and if those people want to follow the legal process, and if we say after we shut the borders down that the legal process needs to be changed in some form or fashion, that's fine. I'm willing to have that conversation. But you have to shut the door first so as to prevent the trendy Araguas of the world or the MS-13s of the world or the terrorists to come in or the drug smugglers to come in or the child smugglers to come in. And finally, we have somebody doing something about it. After 4 years of unfettered, I mean, folks, you had one of two plans. If you wanted to come into the United States of America, you had one of two choices. You could do so by going through a port of entry and identifying yourself and saying asylum and getting a piece of paper and walking on in, or you could walk in a way where they can't track you because you want to do something dastardly. You want to do something illegal. You want to do something immoral. Now, some of the people that walked in and said asylum, they want that too. I don't know who's who. We don't know who's who. That's the point. We have to stop this flood. I've used the analogy for years. If you come home, if you go out of town for Thanksgiving, you go visit grandma and mama and them. You go in and visiting mama and them, and you come back home in 3 days, and you open up the kitchen door, and there's just a flood of water coming out of the kitchen sink. You've had a pipe that has burst in these cold weather conditions, and now there's just water just pouring out of the kitchen sink. There's 3 inches of water on your floor. And, I mean, it's just coming hard and heavy out of that sink. What's the first thing you're going to do? Our immigration issue is no different. What's the first thing you're going to do? Are you going to grab a mop and a bucket and start slopping up the floor? Or are you going to stop the additional water that's coming out of the sink first? You have to stop the water first. Otherwise, no amount of cleanup is going to help. So if you're to say to me that we need to clean up the process by which we allow people to come in through work visas, through green cards, all of those other ways, I'm fine with that. I'm willing to have that conversation, but only and until we stop the flood. Sadly, people that claim that they want that immigration process to be cleaned up, I think the chambers of commerce around the country, I think they'd be willing to handle that. I think they'd be fine with that. But sadly, many of the Democrat politicians, they don't care because they just want the votes. And they won't admit that. All right, I put on a pair of rant pants there for a couple of minutes on this Thanksgiving Eve. It's 24 after the hour. By the way, you can communicate, 615-737-9986. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products?
With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70% off retail.
Members Nutrition can't change your life, but we can change the way you live.
Third time is not the charm for Diddy. And the latest on bomb threats and swatting incidents made against some of President-elect Trump's nominees coming up at 5:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you much, Mr. I'm thankful for Ken Weaver. I really am.
I'm thankful for you boys.
Well, I appreciate that. I'm thankful for Weber. If it weren't for, and everybody should be thankful for Chris Weber, because if it weren't for him, I mean, y'all wouldn't be hearing any of this.
No.
Just be silence right now.
And don't you forget.
I'm not thankful for I-24, though. I mean, I guess,
No,
I mean, I'm really not, because you know what? I never take I-24. I mean, I've taken I-24 like 3 times that I've gone to Chattanooga. Other than that,
Yeah.
I mean, to heck with I-24. You people knew what you were getting into.
It does seem like every time I travel on 24, there is either I may not be involved in it. It may be on the other side of the interstate, but there's always some sort of catastrophic something. Like we were going down that way last weekend. I think it was last Friday, and coming this way towards Nashville, there was a tractor trailer that had just completely melted to the ground. Like the trailer was no longer there. There was a pile of whatever used to be in the back of it, gone and back up for probably 10 miles.
Oh, yeah.
Just sitting still. And I thought, boy, these people are having a good morning.
Yeah.
The last time I went over to, I drove over to Athens for the Georgia-Tennessee game. And I took 24 down through Chattanooga and then 75 and on, around Atlanta. And I actively thought about, especially south of Murfreesboro, that section between Murfreesboro and Chattanooga. I mean, it gets to a point where I was like, when did they build this?
Yeah.
I mean, because it really is like a mountain road, but it's an interstate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, it's doing these twists and these turns, and it's slow down to 20 miles an hour for the love. And I'm like, was there not a better way to do? I mean, I understand there's mountains down there, but was there not a better way to do this back then? I don't know. And so it goes to your point that, people don't. They're driving that road. They don't know what they're getting into, and kablooey.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about the ladders in the road.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm constantly behind. I'm either behind a truck with rocks coming out from underneath it or a pickup with a ladder that's dangling off the side. Or something.
I don't think I've ever driven I-24 where I haven't seen some sort of love seat or sofa on the side of the road.
Yeah. Yeah, there's that.
And who does that, Ken? Who and then they go, to hell with it. Let's just get out of here.
I mean, you're driving 70 and it comes off. You're not going back. I mean, come on.
Hey, this is no lie. A couple of weeks ago, I was heading into town, and there was a fella who's got these running boards. I guess you can step off to get into your pickup truck.
Yeah.
Big old pile of gravel on them. And, I mean, they're just going, dook, dook. Just bouncing up, flying over my car, hitting people behind me.
He's just leaving breadcrumbs so he could find his way back later.
Yeah. Look over there, and the old boy's just taking a sip of his coffee.
A little Hansel and Gretel action going on. Just make sure he can find his way home. Why? Well, it's an open-ended question, but I wonder why I-24 is so bad. I mean, maybe somebody that's been around longer than me knows. I mean, why isn't 65 that bad? Why isn't?
I don't know, man.
Why isn't 40 that bad? I don't know. It's weird. I know this. It's time for news on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories, full forecast, traffic updates in 5 minutes, and Sean Diddy Combs is going to stay in jail. A federal judge in his latest attempt at bail denying his request today, finding the hip-hop mogul charged with sex trafficking is potentially dangerous. Combs has pleaded not guilty to all the charges. He's tried 3 times to get bail to prepare for trial in May. Well, President Biden has prepared for trial at home, that is. And the trial is going to be in May. And President Biden has been briefed on the bomb threats and swatting incidents made against some of President-elect Trump's nominees starting last night, then lingering into this morning. Here's ABC's Selena Wang.
Trump's spokesperson Caroline Leavitt says that several of Trump's cabinet picks and appointees had faced threats last night and this morning, and said those threats range from bomb threats to swatting.
White House says it's in touch with federal law enforcement and Trump's team and continues to monitor the situation closely. Law enforcement alert obtained by ABC News warning about a rash of iPhone thefts across the country, thieves hitting homes where phones have been delivered and may be disguised as legitimate delivery personnel. Sources telling ABC News the thieves are specifically targeting AT&T customers who order new iPhones and then have them delivered to their homes.
Here in New York City, the NYPD has recorded more than 50 thefts of new iPhones ordered from AT&T. Police are working to determine how exactly the thieves know which houses to target and when.
Right now in Nashville, a court challenge to the newly approved sales tax increase to pay for Mayor Freddie O'Connell's transit plan. The Tennessean says the committee to stop an unfair tax and its leader, former Metro Council member Emily Evans, filed that lawsuit today, claiming the projects the plan funds are not allowed under the law, and the ballot language was misleading when it came to the total cost. That's the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Five crashes on I-24. 24 eastbound at Murfreesboro Pike. That's exit 52. 24 westbound at Old Hickory Boulevard. 24 westbound near Wilma Roof Boulevard in Montgomery County. Spring Street at I-24. 24 eastbound near Whites Creek Pike. 24 eastbound near Almaville. I counted. That's 6 crashes on I-24. Looks like 40 eastbound before Fessler's Lane, that is. 40 westbound before Spence Lane. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products?
With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70% off retail.
Members Nutrition can't change your life, but we can change the way you live.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN 540. Good afternoon. I need to, if I'm going to do these things for Brian, Mondays and Fridays, and on this Wednesday, like Friday, what is the consensus, Weber? You've been around the block a time or two during the evening and afternoon hours. What is the consensus on when it goes from afternoon to evening?
I think once we go back to standard time, which of course we did a few weeks ago, I think 5 p.m. is the official evening threshold.
That feels right.
Yeah, because
it's dark.
It's dark outside.
Yeah, that's right. And that feels right. And during the summertime, when it's light outside, I don't feel compelled to go evening until
6 o'clock. Is
6,
fair.
Yeah, sure. That's dinner time. I get that. Hey, Kevin has a comment about I-24, which apparently sucks. 6. Is that right? Did I have the count right, Ken?
6 crashes on I-24.
Separate accidents. And I'm open for discussion about why I-24 sucks worse than any other interstate around here. We've got several comments on the super text line, 615-737-9986. Daryl has written in with a little good news, Ken. Daryl says that tell Ken the Waffle House parking lot is open. I mean, that's nice. 1003 says they should build a third lane between Murfreesboro and Chattanooga on I-24 and have Elon Musk build a tunnel under that mountain.
Ooh,
that would be good.
I'd take it.
I mean, anything. Jason said, I'll tell you why I-24 is so bad, because everybody that lives south of Nashville down I-24 is effing stupid.
Wow.
Well, I mean, tell us how you really feel about it, Jason.
That may be true, man.
Goodness me. Jeff offers a little more constructive commentary. He said, Murfreesboro is the 4th largest city in Tennessee, and 90% of the people that live in Murfreesboro work in Nashville.
Yep.
Emphasis mine, not Jeff's. Well, that's true. That's true. Hey, wait a minute. I realized we have an offender. Mm-hmm.
What's that?
Well, I mean, Jeff has said that 90% of the people that live in Murfreesboro work in Nashville. We have 2 offenders on this radio station. 2. Weaver and Handboy over there. Chris Hand.
Yeah.
Yep. That part. Although in their defense, they're not riding in the drive times. They're in those off times when,
Yeah, we're in the in-between times.
Yeah, when traffic goes from a complete mess to just a mild annoyance.
Right. Hey.
What do you have to say about it, Kevin?
Well, I'm a true driver. I drive everywhere, every day. And first of all, I want to say thank you, and I love you all, and happy Thanksgiving to everybody at WTN. And I love you guys, because every day when I'm driving, I listen to you guys.
All right.
That's good. Thank you, Kevin.
But today, really, I was driving down 24, and I see a bunch of trash and a bunch of other stuff on the side of the road, but there was a bassinet. There was a bassinet, like a baby's bassinet. I literally turned around, and I was so terrified that somebody had left a child on the side of the road.
Yeah.
That I had to turn around and go back. And thank the Lord that there was not a child in the bassinet.
That is good. That is good.
That's the crazy stuff that you see driving around, 24, 65, anywhere.
You reminded me, Kevin, and thank goodness, no baby in the bassinet. You reminded me of this story. There was and it turned out the authorities now believe that this was not what they thought it was to begin with, that it was a little person. I'm not going to say midget because I was told I couldn't. Mm-hmm. But originally, there was a story out of Hoover, Alabama, suburb of Birmingham, back when I was still there, that there were multiple people that reported a small baby walking down I-459 at like 11 o'clock at night. Like a 3-year-old, like a 3 or 4-year-old.
Oh boy!
And when the cops got there, and the cops apparently, this is a big deal. The cops apparently got there in like 5 minutes, and like 3 people had called in. There's a baby walking down the interstate on I-459. And the cops got there was no baby. They couldn't find anybody. They had no idea what to make of it. And I think the resolution of that case was eventually that they determined that it was that a driver had a car had been abandoned, and the driver was a little person.
Run out of gas or something.
Yeah, just waddling down the road, maybe a little tipsy, and so he would kind of, I'm just trying to figure out why they thought it was a baby. I don't know.
Well, it's the size. Probably the big factor.
But, yeah, we're sure. Or lack thereof.
If he was walking along 24, he'd be throwing nails out onto the 4 lanes. That's how bad 24 is. Not only would he be walking on the shoulder, but he'd be throwing nails out there for everybody to drive over.
Dragging one of those little bitty step ladders. Not the big ones, just, anyway.
Toss it out
Hey, I'm not lying, boys. There was one time, there was an entire sofa sitting at the Waldron Road exit in Smyrna. It sat there for probably 2 weeks. I kept expecting when on my way home to see somebody sitting in it, smoking a pipe or something.
Well, I mean, how do you expect the people who are stuck in traffic all that time to rest, Ken? They got to have some place to sit down. They get out of their car and just hang out.
Have a nap.
I thought about pulling over, checking it for change.
Let's nominate some turkeys, shall we?
Let's do it.
Let's see. Hold on. Oh, there you go. I had this one.
Love to eat turkey. Love to eat turkey, 'cause it's good. Love to eat the turkey like a good boy should, 'cause it's turkey to eat. So good.
All right, so here's the deal. We're going to nominate a few turkeys. You can nominate a local, a state turkey, a national turkey, any turkey you want to. Let's see. Who wants to go first? I'm going to pick Chris Webber.
All right. I'm going to pick, mine's not so much a person, it's a thing, but I think it kind of gets the point across. My turkey, at least for Nashville here, and that affects me on a daily basis, is Demumbrian Hill. What the hell have they done to Demumbrian Hill? They have ruined it.
What's wrong with Demumbrian Hill?
The bike lanes or whatever the heck it is.
Are you talking about the thing out there? That's what we're talking about?
Yeah, from the statues down to the interstate.
That's called the Demumbrian Hill. All right,
yeah.
I learned something new today. I didn't know that's what. I have it's weird.
They've taken it to one lane each direction instead of 2 lanes. So now I'm trying to get on the interstate, and I have to wait behind all these jack wagons that are just sitting here waiting to go downtown. I cannot get off, to the interstate.
What about those pretty flowers, though? They've got there between you and the bike lane there, Brother Chris.
And it's like a 4-foot wide flower bed. Like, do we really need that big of a flower bed?
And, man, they are making sure that those flowers are watered, too, boy.
Oh, yeah.
Going to be ice skating on it this weekend.
There's no question, because they got some water going down on those flowers on the regular. I don't understand. I'm with you. Like, on the one side, I guess I can understand that they have, like, curb lanes so people can pull off and pick up.
But they had that anyway.
They had that.
With the 2 lanes.
True. And then on the side going toward the interstate when we're leaving the circle, I mean, they have those big barriers up. I don't know what any of that's for. I mean, I get the bike lane, but what? It doesn't make any sense.
It's a disaster.
It's one of Freddie O'Connell's traffic improvements.
Well, now they got some pretty flowers.
Yeah, so we'll see how long those last. But they're going to be trampled by all the drunk tourists.
There'll be drunks falling all over it.
Oh, and speaking of that, the pedestrians, now there's a stop sign that is also a red light that flashes when someone wants to cross the street. So you have to stop. Well, I mean, you're going to stop for them if they're coming across. But, I mean, it's like, well, what is this? This red light's flashing at me.
I don't understand why you need those red lights.
I got news for those tourists. If I were you, I would Uber downtown rather than try to walk across to Demumbrian near I-40, because I'm telling you, nobody's seeing you. Well, you can't see them.
Well, and I don't know how it is. I mean, I've not had such an issue at 7, but let me promise you this: if I'm leaving at 3:30 or 4 o'clock after my shift, I mean, the thing backs up all the way to the circle, which is now also. And I think they made the circle 1 lane because people couldn't figure out how to do a traffic circle with 2 lanes.
People just cannot figure out circles. I don't know what the problem is. It's not that difficult.
No.
I mean, there are people, they will sit and wait until nobody's in the circle.
Yeah. It's like, are you waiting for an invitation?
Get out of the way. Wait to go home.
And by the way, and look, I appreciate kindness while we're on this, I appreciate the people that are nice. You are not obligated to stop while you're in the circle to let people not in the circle in the circle. That's the whole point of the circle is that it keeps moving.
Keeps it moving.
You got to keep on driving.
And people will slam on their brakes and wave them in. Come on in.
Oh, come on now.
Come on out
Oh,
here.
Southern hospitality.
Hey,
Look
can
at
we?
those,
Hey,
look at those naked dancers.
Hey, by the way, why do they put pants on them occasionally?
They do?
Like twice a year.
It's some sort of thing they're promoting.
Like a
I don't know
festival
what-
or something?
Yeah, I think so.
And I wondered how both times that I've seen it happen, I guess it's maybe once a year that it happens, they put pants on the naked statues.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, well, how do they get those pants on there?
That is,
Velcro.
You think? Yeah,
That's
that's probably
right.
right. And I could have figured that out on my own. Snaps or Velcro or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's probably right. Hey, Ken Weaver.
Yes, sir.
You got you a turkey in there?
Turkey of the year.
All right, turkey of the year. Come on.
My turkey of the year is this. I'm sure we're all going to remember. It's not a person, but she does have a name by the name of Alexa.
Why should I vote for Trump?
I cannot provide responses that endorse any political party or its leader.
Alexa, why should I vote for Kamala Harris?
While there are many reasons to vote for Kamala Harris, the most significant may be that she is a female of color with a comprehensive plan to address racial injustice and
So after saying, well, I'm not allowed to do that, all of a sudden she is allowed to do it for Kamala.
Oh, that was just a mistake. That was a programming error, Ken. They fixed the glitch.
So Amazon is the turkey of the year.
Love it. Turkey of the year. It would be easy to pick Kamala Harris. It would be easy to pick Joe Biden. It would be easy to pick some of these other ne'er-do-wells. But I'm going to select a guy that came onto the scene. Nobody really knew who he was. He came on the scene hot, fast, and furious. And he is now gone forever. I know him based on his campaign appearances.
You are the dancing queen.
Came in hot there. My bad. Tim Walz with his flappy arms.
Oh, boy.
And his wavy hands and his crazy wife is the turkey of the year. He came in. Tim Walz came into that campaign as a way to get more men to vote for Kamala Harris. And men looked at Tim Walz and went, I'm sorry, what? Real men don't wave their hands like this. And I'm waving my hand like Tim Walz into the camera. And real men know how to load a shotgun. And real men have had an orange. I mean, if you claim to be a hunter, don't still have the creases in your orange vest that clearly just came out of the package. I mean, Tim Walz, thank you so much for being the dancing queen and the turkey of the year because you assisted in preventing a Kamala Harris disaster. It's 52 after the hour. Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy in the middle of downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We've talked so much about Savory Spice. I thought, why not show you the place? So let's go on in and see what's popping at Savory Spice. As I've always said, you will smell the spices even before you walk in. I can smell them right here in the doorway. Come on in and let's introduce you to the one and only Holly, who is the owner and proprietor of Savory Spice. Say hey, Holly.
Hello, everyone.
Now, enough about Holly. Let's talk about spicy and easy products like the incredible taco soup, which, as I said, you put this in a crock pot, you put all the ingredients that it tells you to buy right there, you put the spices in, and it's so easy. So if you don't know what you're doing around the kitchen, it's a perfect way to find your way around the kitchen, as is the Mediterranean dill risotto. Now, for the holidays, pumpkin pie spice. What doesn't it have, Holly?
Pumpkin.
Doesn't have any pumpkin in it. That's a fun fact for all of you kids out there. Now, if you stop by Savory Spice, either in the Franklin location or at L&L Market, you can get yourself a sample of the dill dip, which is my absolute favorite. Just tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice with purchase now. So come by Franklin or L&L Market in Nashville and come see Holly and the entire crew at Savory Spice.
6 o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Tell you about the rain we're going to have to contend with during part of this holiday weekend. Also, full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. Trump transition team says some of the president-elect's nominees have been the victim of phony threats since last night. A spokesperson said it ranged from bomb threats to swatting. ABC News White House correspondent Karen Travers with the latest from the Biden administration on the situation.
President Biden has been briefed on the bomb threats and swatting incidents made against some of President-elect Trump's nominees. The White House says it is in touch with federal law enforcement and Trump's team and continues to monitor the situation closely. A White House official said the federal law enforcement response remains ongoing, and the president and the Biden administration, quote, unequivocally condemn threats of political violence.
President-elect Trump says retired General Keith Kellogg will serve as his special envoy for Ukraine and Russia. ABC senior White House correspondent Selena weighing on what we know about Kellogg's position on Ukraine.
He writes that the U.S. should condition aid to Ukraine on Ukraine entering peace talks with Russia. He also writes that NATO leaders should hold off on granting Ukraine membership for an extended period in exchange for a comprehensive and verifiable peace deal with security guarantees. And also, just like several other Trump appointees, General Kellogg is a current Fox News contributor.
A law enforcement alert obtained by ABC News is now warning about a rash of iPhone thefts across the country. The thieves are hitting homes where phones have been delivered and may be disguised as legitimate delivery personnel. We get more from Aaron Katersky.
Just last month in Virginia, a doorbell camera captured a suspect stealing an iPhone package and pulling a gun on an eyewitness riding his lawnmower. It's one of more than 75 incidents reported in Northern Virginia alone. Law enforcement sources tell ABC News thieves are specifically targeting AT&T customers who order new iPhones and have them delivered to their home.
Well, today in Nashville, Mayor Freddie O'Connell issued an executive order that creates the city's first Office of Youth Safety. They're going to be taking applications for a director soon. First part of next month. The goal is to get kids to stop killing each other by coming up with programs that prevent conflicts from escalating into gun violence, then equip these kids with conflict resolution skills with a focus that is separate from the criminal justice system, which the mayor says sometimes is harmful. A group is asking a chancery court judge in Nashville to pause a hemp rule growers say will put them out of business and deny what growers say is medicine their customers need. Rodney Croteau, owner of Green Daisy in Franklin, telling News 2 it's the flower which you can smoke that provides a marijuana-like high.
Over a third of my business sales is from these products, THCA flower and a lot of the vape. So it's a significant impact that will obviously impact us tremendously from a financial standpoint. And more importantly, my folks, my customers that rely on this medicine for various, health issues.
No word on whether the judge will decide before December 26th when that new rule takes effect. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. 5 crashes on I-24, starting in Montgomery County, 24 westbound near Wilma Rudolph Boulevard, 24 eastbound at Murfreesboro Pike here in Nashville, then 24 eastbound near Waldron Road. The right 2 lanes are blocked there in Laverne. Got one on Spring Street at I-24, and then a crash blocking the shoulder, 24 westbound near Old Hickory Boulevard in Whites Creek. And then 24 eastbound near Whites Creek Pike at exit 35 in Jolton. How about I-40, you ask? Well, we have a refrigerator in the middle of the road. In fact, the center lane, 40 eastbound just past Beckwith Road. That's exit 299. Nowlandsville Pike at I-44, you got a crash reported by police. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It is the last hour of the drive with Brian Wilson. No Brian Wilson today. Matt in for Brian. 6:08. Good evening. Last hour for the day and last live hour for the week. We're off tomorrow.
And the month.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. For the month, too. Huh. How about that? What will it be? December? Is Monday December 1st?
2nd. Yep.
Man, oh, man. Lot of time between now and then. I like that. I like having a couple of days off. Hope you're able to spend some time off with family and friends. We'll not be here tomorrow for Thanksgiving Day, and we will not be here Friday for the day after Thanksgiving, which is an unofficial Cumulus Media Company holiday, and we thank you for indulging us. I thank you for indulging me for the last 3 hours or so. We'll try to finish strong. I'm a little bit torn because I have a good bit of hard news that I could get to. But I don't know if I'm feeling it. Maybe I leave it up to the listening audience on the Super Text line because we have plenty of stuff that we can do that's not so hard-edged. I mean, obviously, we want to keep you up to date with everything that's going on in the world, and there are plenty of things going on, and I do have to pay off the Israel story. We've got Ohio Governor Mike DeWine, who signed a law into place in Ohio today that bars public school students in the state from using bathrooms that don't line up with their individual sex at birth. The Protect All Students Act, what is that, PASA? You know, they have to do that, right? That's almost a requirement that you have to do that. SB 104 will bar transgendered students from kindergarten through college at state public schools from using multi-person bathrooms reserved for the opposite sex. The bill's co-sponsor, Republican State Senator Jerry Serino, defended the legislation on the grounds that it would protect vulnerable children. Well, of course it will. Revolves around the safety, security, and I think common sense. It protects our children, our grandchildren in private spaces. Look, if you have somebody that is one of the very minuscule percentage of the population that is genuinely gender dysphoric at some point in their young life, then they need to learn that society is simply not set up to accommodate their specific dysphoria. And therefore, they're going to have to figure out these accommodations on their own. There are plenty of single-use bathrooms or unisex bathrooms that they have the ability to use. Otherwise, use the bathroom of the gender that you were born with. Simple as that. Just all you have to do, and I don't mean to get too graphic, all you got to do is look down. Whatever's down there, use that bathroom. That's all. And if you show a little determination, a little verve on your own, and you take some initiative in regards to what you're looking at, snippy, well, then you can use the bathroom that you're looking at. That's my, you show me a little dedication, and I'll show you a little grace with regard to where you go to the bathroom. Snip, snip. Let's get to it. All right, that's one of the stories. The other story involved Israel, and I'm sad to report this because yesterday we reported that Israel was prepared to engage in a ceasefire with Hezbollah. Now, obviously, this is specific to Hezbollah, so it's specific to Lebanon. It will not involve anything going on in Gaza. It will not involve anything going on with Hamas, that terrorist organization. It's specific to the terrorist organization of Hezbollah. Well, it seemed odd the way that this happened, in as much as American media was reporting on it even before Benjamin Netanyahu had made a comment on it, and even before his cabinet had ultimately decided to do something about it. Well, sadly, it is beginning to make sense. And sadly, after it was initially announced, it seemed confusing to me, and I reported on it yesterday during my noon to 3 show. Israel seemed to be acquiescing, and it didn't make a lot of sense. Why would Jerusalem agree to put a halt to the war that it was prosecuting expertly? I mean, as far as Israel goes, in the manner in which they are executing what they are doing, by the way, there was a ceasefire in place. That ceasefire was in place on October 6th, 2023. Israel was attacking no one. Israel was killing no one. And Hamas, the radical Muslim organization that has had power and control over the Gaza Strip since 2006, that group attacked Israel. I'm fascinated with the left and their ignorance of their hypocrisy when it comes to these two conflicts that we find ourselves in. They shield themselves in the Russian-Ukrainian conflict by saying, well, who's the aggressor, Murphy? Putin and Russia, they're the aggressor, so we need to clap back against them. We need to support the people that were attacked. But you're not supporting the people that were attacked in the Middle East when it comes to Israel. Instead, you just scream free Palestine and all of that. And by the way, that's nonsense, because by your assessment, if that is the metric, Palestine's been free since 2006. And they've done nothing with the billions and billions and billions of dollars that they've received in humanitarian aid, except to build tunnels, except to build weapons, except to buy weapons and arm themselves for what they knew was going to be their coming war, their jihad against the Jews. From the river to the sea, Palestine, it will be free. What does that mean? That means that we want to kill all the Jews and destroy Israel. That's what it means. But I felt like something was wrong with this announced ceasefire, and it seems like that I was correct. In a press release issued this morning, Ted Cruz is now alleging, and I believe him, that it was the Biden administration that forced this ceasefire on the Israeli people. And, well, on the Israeli government and by extension, on the Israeli people. That it was Joe Biden. I don't believe it was Joe Biden for a second, because Joe Biden couldn't find his butt with a flashlight and a compass. But his anti-Israel administration made the decision to strong-arm Israel on the way out the door, knowing that Donald Trump's got Israel's back, knowing that the new administration is going to value the peacemakers that is Israel. That might be grammatically incorrect, but I think you get the idea. They are attempting on their way out the door to strong-arm them to the point where they told Benjamin Netanyahu and the rest of Israel that they would withhold weapons from them if they did not do this bad deal for them. Israel was not persuaded in an honest fashion to pursue this line of quote-unquote peace or ceasefire because they thought it was the right thing to do. They were pushed to this point and pushed to this line of thinking because the Biden administration made them. Telling Israel that if they did not do this, that sadly they would withhold the arms that Israel needs from the United States of America to defend itself. Obama-Biden officials, this is from the press release from Ted Cruz, Obama-Biden officials pressured our Israeli allies into accepting the ceasefire by withholding weapons they needed to defend themselves and to counter Hezbollah, and by threatening to facilitate a further broader binding international arms embargo through the United States. In other words, it was not enough that the United States of America said, we're not going to give you any further arms. They took the additional step of saying, and we'll go to the United Nations and we'll create an arms embargo against you. Against Israel, the country that was attacked. Benjamin Netanyahu's aides confirmed the broader strokes of Cruz's testimony. The Israeli government claimed that the outgoing administration threatened to embargo arms transfers while promising to stand aside while the United Nations Security Council passed resolutions compelling Israel to put a halt to the fighting, not just in Lebanon, but in Gaza too. In other words, they were going to force them to do this in Gaza if they had the ability, if Israel didn't agree to the Lebanon deal. Look, I know that we don't have much longer. This 4 years of failure will go down as a wart on the butt of American history. I mean, it really will. I mean, this has Jimmy Carter written all over it. I mean, I don't mean to oversimplify it, but it certainly does, doesn't it? I mean, Jimmy Carter had his failure in the Middle East. Jimmy Carter had the malaise of the American people. He had the inflationary rates through the roof. Mortgage prices were through the roof. Mortgage interest rates were through the roof. I mean, the economy was in the pits. I mean, there are a tremendous amount of similarities, which would indicate that, you know, I've long said that Donald Trump, you know, some people want to compare Donald Trump to Ronald Reagan, and I always felt like he was more Nixon because he opened up avenues of lines of communication and negotiation with countries that we had never negotiated with before, much like Nixon did with China. He opened up some of those lines of communication with other nations. He was also an enemy of the press, and the press considered him an enemy of the people. All these things align with the Nixon administration. And they tried to hang him on, you know, secret recordings and all these types of things, much like the press got Nixon back in the day, back in the early 1970s. And born from Nixon after, obviously, Gerald Ford was Jimmy Carter, much like Joe Biden was born of the first Trump administration. So Trump is now set to be both Nixon and Reagan because Trump's coming back in, and it's morning again in America, baby. It's morning again around the world, truly. Hold tight, Benjamin Netanyahu. A friend of Israel is coming. I don't believe and I don't think that Trump is interested in getting American boots on the ground in the Middle East. Quite the contrary. He wants to make sure that we support our friend in that region, in Israel, in a way where we will never need to put boots on the ground in that area. That's the whole point. And I think the Russian-Ukrainian conflict will be over pretty quickly as well. All right, that's some hard stuff. We'll get to some thankful stuff. We'll get to some Thanksgiving conversation coming up in a few minutes on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy in the middle of downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We've talked so much about Savory Spice. I thought, why not show you the place? So let's go on in and see what's popping at Savory Spice. As I've always said, you will smell the spices even before you walk in. I can smell them right here in the doorway. Come on in, and let's introduce you to the one and only Holly, who is the owner and proprietor of Savory Spice. Say hey, Holly.
Hello, everyone.
Now, enough about Holly. Let's talk about spicy and easy products like the incredible taco soup, which, as I said, you put this in a crock pot, you put all the ingredients that it tells you to buy right there, you put the spices in, and it's so easy. So if you don't know what you're doing around the kitchen, it's a perfect way to find your way around the kitchen, as is the Mediterranean dill risotto. Now, for the holidays, pumpkin pie spice. What doesn't it have, Holly?
Pumpkin.
It doesn't have any pumpkin in it. That's a fun fact for all of you kids out there. Now, if you stop by Savory Spice, either in the Franklin location or at L&L Market, you can get yourself a sample of the dill dip, which is my absolute favorite. Just tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice with purchase now. So come by Franklin or L&L Market in Nashville and come see Holly and the entire crew at Savory Spice.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lockboxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
Thank you much, Mr. Ken Weaver. It is 6:25 right now. Swatting. That is, I don't want to get in front of Ken's story here, but that is on the lips of several of our super texters. They want to know what swatting is. We'll talk about it coming up in just a couple of minutes. A lot of reaction to the refrigerator in the road. And I get it. Daryl writes in and says the refrigerator on I-40 was on its way to Rutherford County until I-24 got so backed up. 1825 says the refrigerator in the middle of I-40 was misdelivered. It was meant to be dropped off on I-24. Oh, boy, somebody at the delivery company is going to be in trouble.
I was thinking, the old prank phone call. Is your refrigerator running?
Mm-hmm.
That one actually was.
Oh, you better go catch it. One was. Yeah, well, I want to know if somebody checked it for beer. I told Weaver a minute ago, I said, man, if that was on 24, when you're going home, I tell you to stop and check and make sure there's not any beer in the fridge. You never know.
I think it was out your way, wasn't it? Maybe you can check on your way home.
Maybe I can on the way home, sure.
Oh, it'll be empty by then.
Sadly, probably so. 6728 says Nashville people can't even merge, let alone circle. Boy, that's true.
Yep.
But Nashville traffic is interesting. Once you learn it, you have to avoid the people that don't know what the hell they're doing, and you have to look at license plates because license plates can tell you, it doesn't tell you everything, not nearly everything, but it tells you a lot about whether or not the guy in front of you is going to know what to do and how to do it. but they're just pinch points, and you just need to know which side of the pinch point to be on, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the loop, that's what we call it, right? The loop, the inner loop.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I mean, you just need to know which side of the loop to be on, depending on where you need to go and how you need to merge, depending on what you're doing.
But, you mentioned the license plates. I'm always amazed that it always seems when I get frustrated, I look at the license plate and it will say Davidson County. And I'm like, you live here. How do you not know how to drive better than this? Did you not know you needed to be in this lane before 2 seconds before the exit?
But enough about the ladies in the listening audience.
Ooh, watch out now.
That's why you said. I didn't say. You said. No, I kid. I'm just joking. Happy Thanksgiving, ladies. We love you. Many of you can drive. Some of you cannot, but many of you can. No, you're right. I mean, you just wonder. I mean, how in the world do you get around, or do you just never drive on the interstates or whatever?
Yeah, I don't get it.
I don't know. Well, I mean, it was the old George Carlin bit. He said the problem is that have you ever noticed that everybody going faster than you on the interstate is a maniac, and everybody going slower than you is an absolute moron? Look at this moron going 45 miles. Oh my God, this maniac's driving by me so bad. He goes, you know what? Nobody goes the same speed as you.
Stupids.
But
what's wrong with people?
And see if they're going. I love it because it works. Because if they're going the same speed, you never see them because they're going the same speed.
Makes perfect sense to me.
Makes perfect sense to me. James Carville does not make perfect sense. We might get into James Carville, someone that I'm thankful for, coming up in the next couple of minutes. Plus, do you have a particular favorite when it comes to Thanksgiving sides?
Well, I mean, do you call the dressing aside? I don't know. I guess so.
Yeah, but I think we have to set aside the side. I mean, that's kind of the star of the sides.
Yeah.
I mean, you got the turkey.
Except for that.
Except for dressing, what is your go-to?
I really, really like, my mom makes this great broccoli and cheese casserole. It's like broccoli and rice and cheese, and it's just so good.
Are you getting in on my text messages?
No.
But I just said this to someone that my grandmother made a broccoli casserole instead of green bean casserole that I absolutely loved, and is far superior to green bean casserole.
Oh yeah, green bean casserole that's what I mean, no offense to anyone that loves it and makes it a lot, but that's what the people that don't know how to cook bring to the Thanksgiving dinner. I mean, because you're just dumping the green beans and the cream of mushroom soup and then sprinkling the stuff on top.
That's exactly right.
Doesn't take a whole lot of skill.
No. I mean, but I always loved the broccoli casserole. My grandmother made a homemade mac and cheese that was it was a lot more cheese than mac, and there was a lot of, I don't know what it was. It was not butter. It was some sort of margarine that would just seep up on the top, and you would scoop it out. There would be a little
puddle,
a little pool of whatever that was that she cooked with. Oh, so good. I don't get that anymore. But I have a stack of old school recipes that were handwritten by my grandmother, which is very sentimental anyway.
Yeah.
But we did. You have a favorite dessert?
You can't go wrong with pumpkin pie. I love pumpkin pie.
See, we always did. Instead, we did pecan pie, but she did a pumpkin cake, which was a sheet cake with cream cheese icing. Ooh. So good. Oh, so good. And I just remember you would eat that, because we always ate. Everybody has different times.
Oh, yeah.
What was your time?
We kind of spread it out. We never ate at one particular time.
See,
but mostly like late lunch type time.
Right, like 1 o'clock. Yeah, we did like a 1 or maybe even a 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
And then you could graze basically for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
And I just you go outside, you play. My older brother and I are playing with the neighborhood kids or whatever. And then at about 6 o'clock or so, you can go back in and get you a big old square of that pumpkin pie with the cream cheese dressing on top. Oh, so good. So good. Cannot wait.
I'm hungry.
I'm hungry now, too. It's time for news. We're going to go see if there's something to eat in the fridge, either on I-40 or the one in the break room. And we'll be back in a moment right after Ken Weaver's newscast. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Indeed, it's 6:39, winding down. Ken Weaver, just about to head out to I-24. Good luck, Ken.
Going to get in line out there.
Yeah, God bless you. Hope you get home by, I think he'll get home before
daybreak.
The clock rolls over to Thanksgiving, don't you? Scott writes in on the heels of our conversation about some food and side dishes. A lot of people writing in on the side dish conversation. And Scott says, last year I made a pumpkin-flavored angel food cake with cranberry compote and a maple-flavored whipped cream. It was divine. Just a hint of pumpkin and the maple not overpowering, but it was so good. Scott is officially now my best friend.
What time is dinner tomorrow, Scott?
More specifically, I don't really need dinners. I just need dessert. I just need to know when to come over for
just drop by real quick.
Just drop by for a little dessert. I don't want to. Weber and I don't want to impose.
Well, I don't know if he's got that. If that sounds that good, the rest of it's probably that good.
Yeah, that's true. I actually, for that, I would impose. I just bang on the door until you let me in.
Just fix me a plate.
Pumpkin flavored angel food cake with cranberry compote. Scott sounds like he's a foodie. That sounds.
I don't know what any of that means. It just sounds.
It sounds really, really good. Renee says, I couldn't text you earlier because I was driving safely, but this lady drives extremely well. Perhaps a bit too fast because I was taught how to see. Hey, Weber, this is for you for making those nasty comments about the women drivers. I couldn't text you earlier because I was driving safely, but this lady drives extremely well. Perhaps a little too fast because I was taught how to drive by a policeman and spent. Oh, policeman. Well, there you go. You're taught by it.
Careful.
And had spent a great deal of hours driving the 8 congested lanes of the San Francisco Bay Area. Duly noted, Renee, there are plenty of awful men drivers. There are plenty of wonderful women drivers. I am stereotyping because it's fun to make people mad at me. More than anything. Where was it? I drive back and forth on I-24 for 5 years from Antioch to Winchester every day.
Ooh.
I'm thoroughly convinced I-24 was built entirely on top of Indian burial mounds. Maybe so.
Cursed.
That might be true. Happy Thanksgiving to you and yours and the entire 99.7 crew. Yeah, happy Thanksgiving to all of you. I'm going to give you a Thanksgiving gift here in just a moment that I hope you enjoy. Is there any Thanksgiving shows or whatnot that are in the family? You know, a lot of people do planes, trains, and automobiles. I heard Mandis and Chris Hand talking about this morning.
Yeah, I don't really think of that one as a Thanksgiving movie, but it is. It takes place during Thanksgiving. It's a fabulous movie, and I might have to watch it this weekend. But I have a hard time getting through that movie.
Really? Because it's all well and good. I have a hard. It's the 10 or 15. It's when Steve Martin gets really mean to John Candy's character.
Yeah.
And kind of knowing, if you are at all aware that he is just a sad sack and he doesn't mean any harm, I don't know why, but I let it bother me that he is so nasty to him. I know it comes around at the end, and I know what's going to happen, and I know it, but it's still, I have a hard time going through those scenes.
It's because you know that he is just a lonely man.
Yeah, he's just a lonely fellow, and just wants some companionship, particularly around the holidays. Those aren't pillows.
Did you see that game last night?
Where's your other hand? Between two pillows. I think that Charlie Brown Thanksgiving doesn't get the credit that it deserves. It gets stuck somewhere in the middle of the Christmas and the Great Pumpkin. But I love the food that Snoopy serves for the Thanksgiving meal. It always cracks me up. It also cracks me up that unbeknownst to Charles Schultz, for some reason, the animators put Franklin on one side. Have you ever seen this conspiracy thing?
I can't do the Charlie Brown stuff.
You don't do any of it?
I don't like it.
I like it. I kind of dig it.
But they segregated Franklin?
Well, yeah. Everybody, it's weird. Once you notice it, you'll never not notice it. And I don't believe for a second that they did it intentionally. But when they set up the table and it's Snoopy and Peppermint Patty and Marcy and Charlie Brown and Franklin's there, everybody's on one side of the table and Franklin's on the other side of the table. It's just kind of weird. But no, mine is, I know that this is radio-centric, and I know that it probably, people in radio identify with this a little bit more than anyone else. But I saw an article recently, and I think this was on, I think it was Outkick.com, where an older guy, somewhere around my age, who had been in radio in the past, decided to sit down with 20-somethings and watch the entire episode that was the WKRP turkey drop. And he said, I didn't tell him anything. I gave him a basic premise of what WKRP in Cincinnati was about, and then I just let it go. And universally, it was liked by the 20-somethings, believe it or not. Wow. They thought it was a good show. It was dated. Some of the references were dated. Sure. But all of them said the same thing, that one person made the episode. And it was, of course, newsman Les Nessman. With that in mind, for 3.5 good minutes, let's remember WKRP and the turkey drop.
All right, fellow babies, and now it's time to go to our live remote man on the scene at the Pinedale Shopping Mall for the big WKRP turkey giveaway. So, take it away, Les Nessman.
This is Les Nessman, your man on the scene here at the Pinedale Shopping Center where the excitement is mounting. We're here to witness the big WKRP Turkey Thanksgiving giveaway.
Hey, you got permission to be out here? What? You're blocking my store here, buddy.
Don't you know who I am? I'm Les Nessman. I won the Buckeye News Hawk Award last year.
Good for you, Buckeye. Now get out of my doorway.
I'm sorry. Creep.
So far, so good, huh?
I'm here with hundreds of people who have gathered to witness what has been described as perhaps the greatest turkey event in Thanksgiving Day history. All we know for sure is that in a very few moments there are going to be a lot of happy people out here. Now the crowd is... The crowd is
looking at him,
but well behaved. And I think I hear something now. The crowd is moving out into the parking area, and oh yes, I can see it now. It's a helicopter.
Oh,
and it's coming this way.
Oh, that's nice.
It's flying something behind it. I can't quite make it out. It's a large banner, and it says "Happy Giving from WK.
Yes. There you go.
What a sight, ladies and gentlemen, what a sight. The copter seems to be circling the parking area now. I guess it's looking for a place to land. No, something just came out of the back of the helicopter. It's a dark object, perhaps a skydiver.
He's got a smile
to the earth from only 2,000 feet into the air. Second to the third. There's no parachutes yet. Those can't be skydivers. I can't tell just yet what they are, but... Oh, my God, they're turkeys! Johnny, can you get this? Oh, they're crashing to the earth right in front of our eyes! One just went through the windshield of a parked car! This is terrible. The cars running around, pushing each other. Oh, my goodness! Oh, the humanity! The turkeys are hitting the ground like sacks of wet cement. See, folks, I don't know how much longer the crowd is running for their lives. I think I'm going to step inside. I can't stay out here and watch this any longer. No, I can't go in there. Children are searching for their mothers, and not since the Hindenburg tragedy has there been anything like this. I don't know how much longer I can hold my position here, Johnny. The crowd...
Les, are you there? Les isn't there. Thanks for that on-the-spot report, Les. Those of you who just tuned in, the Pinedale Shopping Mall has just been bombed with live turkey. Film at 11.
And then, of course, here's the end. Mr. Carlson.
As God is my witness, I thought turkeys could fly.
That's the punchline of the entire episode. As God is my witness, I thought turkeys could fly.
So good.
It's
always funny.
So it's never not funny. If you've never seen the episode, do yourself a favor and go watch it tonight or tomorrow during Thanksgiving with the family. We got a short time out, and then we'll be back, wrap things up, say what we're thankful for. That's right after this on The Drive on Super Talk.
The Guaranteed Offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, No lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products?
With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70% off retail.
Members Nutrition can't change your life, but we can change the way you live.
Winding down a Thanksgiving Eve edition. See, I'm not against the Eve. I'm against Friday Eve, specifically. Thanksgiving Eve is fine. Happens once a year. Christmas Eve, perfectly acceptable. New Year's Eve, obviously. All Hallows Eve. We call that Halloween. So it is Thanksgiving Eve on the drive, and we're winding our time together down. We'll spend time with family and friends tomorrow. I mean, a few things that you won't learn, and just a couple of items from the Babylon Bee to take with you to Thanksgiving dinner that you won't be taught. Your kids don't get taught this in school. Did you know, for example, that the Patriots defeated the Redskins 42-3 on the first Thanksgiving football game? It was the first of many slaughters to come. That the first turkey, the first Thanksgiving, carved by none other than a young Joe Biden.
Wow.
Yeah. That the Indians were suspicious of the one of the hot dishes on the table that was labeled smallpox. No, these are bad.
Oh, these are
Listen,
really bad.
They're bad. They're bad. I shouldn't have tried them. I will say this. I'm thankful to live on the greatest country, in the greatest country on God's green earth, and I'm thankful that every single day we have the opportunity to communicate with you and share the blessings of freedom and liberty. And I hope that you spend some good time with your family and friends, and we'll talk to you again next time. For Chris Weber, for Ken Weaver, and the rest of the crew at Super Talk 99.7 WTN, have a great evening. Have a better tomorrow. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Talk to you soon. So long, everybody.